What's up, everybody? We are live. Shout out to everybody who's in the room so far. 36 Chambers is in here, man. 36 saw our Patreon that we did Monday. It was a good time. Wu-Tang waxed the Dungeon family. I don't even want to go back and look at the counting. And I say that respectfully. Wu-Tang's just that strong. How you doing today, Coop?
Hold on 1 second. I forgot to set my mic up.
I mean, you sound good.
Me and my daughter were doing a practice run for our show, and we plugged up to her new MacBook.
Okay.
And,
What's good, everybody coming in the room? What's good, everybody, man? You know what? I tried to get into some basketball last night. I was watching some of the games. It was a good game. It was Miami and OKC. That was a good game.
Oh, the 40 for 40 game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessarily a good game. You know what, Mike? I do want to handle like some personal business. I had the pleasure of meeting this family. Their name is Funk, the Funk family.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Funk just underwent her last chemo and radiation treatment yesterday, and she just really, really touched my soul yesterday. And her whole family signed up to follow the podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I just want to wish the Funk family nothing but the best and blessings. They have Mr. and Mrs. Funk. They have 2 young children. And it's really just a blessing for her to be done with her chemo. I shared some of the things going on personally with somebody who is close to me who has cancer. That I'm not going to divulge out of respect for them.
Yeah.
And also losing my cousin who was like my best sister to breast cancer a little over 5 years ago. So just shout out to the Funk family. I want to send all my love and blessings and prayers your way for continued health and prosperity. That's all I got. Let's get it cracking.
Most definitely. Shout out to them, and that's a tough thing, and it's a great thing to get past. So blessings out there. Fantasy 731 with the super chat says, "You guys heard that new Black Thought track? I tagged you in it on Twitter. It's fire. I bet it is fire. Good for Black Thought starting off 2023 with fire. I know Hit Boy and Offset are dropping something Friday. I'm looking forward to hearing that. That's an interesting pairing. I actually like the record that Offset put out, that 54321 record, and I think that a lot of things were going on and it didn't really get jump started the way it needed to. And I think we talked about it here, the choreography that he was attempting to do when he performed it on Fallon, I believe. I liked it. I liked the direction he was going. He just didn't have the cardio up. You know what I mean? Like, in theory, great concept, but I would like to see him execute on it. So, looking forward to hearing what Hit Boy and Offset got Friday as well. We're gonna check out that Black Thought track. We got a lot of housekeeping to do as far as these lists go. There is a generation of hip hop fans who feel like Kanye West has to be high on the list. And there's a generation of hip hop fans who feel like Kanye West doesn't belong high on the list. And then we have this whole notion
Top 20 is high, Mike. Top 20 is high.
No. Listen, Coop.
And
I say this respectfully. I say this respectfully. A lot of niggas can rap, but when you look at the records and what this guy has made, we can't say that there are 5 people even who have done that. We just can't, regardless of what their skill level is. Nah. And I think what gets in the way with people is that, and this is what we got to talk about, is similar to Snoop, not really LL, but it comes into play as well. It's that notion of ghostwriting. And I think that's the thing we really got to nip in the bud, because I saw on Twitter that somebody is out here saying that Rhymefest wrote Jesus Walks. He did not write Jesus Walks. He wrote to it because he found the sample for Kanye. He couldn't do anything with it. He sent the sample to Kanye so that it could be his song. Kanye, being the great producer he is, made the song what it was as a producer. Rhymefest wrote to it. Ye wrote to it. Ye had a deal. Rhymefest did not. He said, go ahead, use the song. That's what it is. Because my thing when it comes to these whole ghostwriting stories, or I did this, and that, and we're gonna go through, people's catalogs today, because Kanye's catalog as a album maker, we keep talking about him as an album maker, but his singles catalog is incredible. And, it was successful as well. My thing is, if somebody wrote a song like A Jesus Walks, where are your hits? And I say that to everyone. Even when Superb was out here talking about he wrote Supreme Clientele for Ghost. Rest in peace to Superb. But my thing is, where is your Supreme Clientele? I don't feel like that's too much to ask. Because Future can write Drunken Love for Jay and Beyonce, and it don't fucking matter because he's Future. He got a whole bunch of other hits. He don't need to harp on the fact that, I wrote Drunken Love.
So I think a couple things need to be unpacked. Obviously, let's start with Kanye. First of all, there are 5 MCs whose name I have on a list right now, and what I'd like to do today, because really what I did, Mike, is that I did what you would call a skeleton track. Like I looked at this list like it's a skeleton list. Like we're filling it out right now, like we did last week. Like I'm really throwing stuff at the wall and seeing how people are responding to what. Now, we're going to talk about Kanye first and foremost, and rightfully so. But I want to talk about Black Thought, Lupe the Game, and Prodigy today, too. Because I think placing them properly and figuring out where they work with all this, because I've seen the drawback that people have been giving me about those guys, with the exception of the Game. And I personally want to bring up the Game. He's the person that I kind of want to forge a little bit today. But to the Kanye thing, Mike, I mean, you and me were just behind the scenes, and we were like, no, it's time to go live, because it's like you were just saying, it's like, well, you feel like Ye has more hits than Jay. And I'm like, okay.
I don't feel that way.
Okay.
It's right here.
No. But hold on. But Mike, what I'm trying to tell you is that, Mike, and this is what I mean about the problem with Ye in relationship to the people that you keep trying to play him with, is that when I said Streets is Watching, which is a 3-verse, like stellar mic performance by Jay, you gave me 2 words. And I'm like, no, that's not going to cut it at the top of the top. That's Most Def and Freeway with Kanye. You don't have those records on the other side that warrants him being up that high. So I don't even have to bring up the ghostwriting thing. I'm talking about the B-sides not being there. Like his B-sides ain't there with Tupac and Nas and Big and Jay. It's not.
Hey Mama.
And then we can get to the ghostwriting. Then we can get to the ghostwriting.
No. We're gonna get there. And again, you just said the streets is
2 words, Mike. You're in trouble.
No, I just went for quality of song. I wasn't see.
You were looking
at quote unquote mic performance. And again, we've all conceded the fact that Jay-Z is the superior lyricist between the two, right? My thing is song making. And so when you said Streets is Watching, I combated it with a better song. And
but it's not a better song.
If we want to talk about quote unquote help, the man made the beat. So Jay-Z needed the help of the producer on Streets is Watching.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about help on the mic and help with writing.
But I think lyricists...
And Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no way in hell that 2 words is better than Streets is Watching.
It is.
What are you talking about?
It's a better song.
What are you talking about?
To me, it is. I mean, I like it better. Jay Short with the super chat says, "What up, fellas? Did you see Baron Davis' new NFT rapper? What do you think about the entire NFT artificial intelligence rapper trend? Sorry, off topic. Didn't see that. Check it out. I think things like that. Anything where automated entity can take away from, the human skill set and the human ability to generate income, I think is a bad thing, at least in mass. Because again, we talk about an industry that artists need funding to actually work, right? So if people start becoming receptive to artificial intelligence in an art form sense, where does that leave the actual artist? Especially when big corporate entities are able to just pay a robot or whatever one time and don't have to actually work out deals and splits with the artificial artist or whatever. Like I don't think it's a good thing, but I need to look more into it. You wanna get to this? Cause I got hella notes.
No, I'm gonna. I just want you to state your case.
Okay,
More or
let
less.
me
I'm gonna
state my
let you.
case.
I'm gonna let you kind of start and forge this in terms of where we should put Kanye, because right now we have him placed at number 6
I think
after Biggie and before KRS-One.
I think it's justified. So this
Okay.
is where I'm gonna go, right?
Yep.
I hear you with the Streets is Watching, the B-sides and this and that, but why do we hold Jay-Z so high outside of his individual lyrical talents? His hit making skills is highly regarded, correct?
Okay, so I've always told you that my biggest critique about him was that, well, his hits was never like that to me anyway. I've always said that. I
understand
always
what
thought
you're
his hits
saying.
were overrated. I've always said that. I've said this live on the show multiple times.
I
So for
understand
me,
what
on a
you're saying.
personal level, his hits have always been overrated. That was never what made him Jay to me, though. Like
You and I have
Imaginary
always
Player and
said those.
Streets is Watching is what made him Jay to me.
But that's not what the masses crowned him king for, correct? You and I have already said his B-sides are his crown jewel. But when it comes to the masses and him being Jay-Z, the Jay-Z he is, that, warrants the attention that he warrants, is based on the hit records, right?
Yes, but okay, but when I say that his hits are when I say his hits are overrated, I say that, I'm saying that I'm not even actually saying that Mike has a disrespect. I'm actually saying that as a compliment, as in like his finesse game and his charisma and his hustle, like, is so supreme. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That the legend of it and the legend of the songs is over exaggerated and overemphasized, and was when the songs were being made. That's more of a testimony to that hustler and that charismatic guy that he is than anything else. Because I'm telling you, like, when I play his best singles next to Biggie and Tupac's singles, oh no. It don't even add up or make sense to me why they would call him a hit maker on that level. So if you want to tell me Kanye's a better hit maker,
He's a better song maker overall.
That is debatable to me. Hold on, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, because everything that you're saying, Mike, well, if that's the case, we got to start putting Dr. Dre and Puff in these conversations about the shit that Ye does well. And I'm going to give you an example in a little bit why. Because the way that you're talking about Kanye, it's like, okay, for as great as Kanye is, Mike, straight out of Compton, Niggas for Life, The Chronic 2001, the executive producer for Doggy Style. So when you're saying these things about Kanye, it's like you understand Dre got Kanye beat on everything that you're talking about.
Dr. Dre doesn't have
and Dre's not even registering in this conversation. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really add up when you do that.
I think you're discounting Kanye disrespectfully.
The Chronic and the Chronic 2001 are better than everything Kanye's ever made, Mike.
Listen, Coop.
Everything he's ever made.
As an MC, there's no way we can sit here and say that Dr. Dre has a record like Through the Wire, All Falls Down, A Jesus Walks. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that kind of range. If you want to talk about, if you want to talk about bitches and slapping hoes and six foes and shit,
care what you say,
sure. But if you want to talk about a complete artist who has content, subject matter, and who can actually make hit records off of a record, like, let me go down the singles. Through the Wire.
You're not about to pull
No. Can I finish?
Can I
finish? Content does matter. Content matters.
When we're talking about emceeing,
when we're talking about emceeing, and we're talking about actually range of ability to make songs, content matters. And
you said
Dr. Dre,
Kanye was a better song maker than Jay. Dre is a better song maker than Kanye.
He's not, because he can't make these records. He's one-dimensional as an artist. He is. He's one-dimensional. Now, he's a great producer. He's a great engineer. His stuff sounds good, but he can't make a Through the Wire. He can't make a slow jam. He can't. Like Dr. Dre Dr. Dre can't make a positive record. You know what I mean? He can't.
Hold on. Kanye can't do what Dre does. Like, don't do that. He don't got
Dr. Dre can't listen. Dr. Dre can't do what a great MC is supposed to do. Let's just say that.
Which is do what?
which is actually have range of topics with their music. Which is actually being able to make a song like "Hey Mama," and actually be able to make a song like "Power,"
Boy.
being able to make a song.
The niggas took over.
You gonna let me finish? What?
No, you acting like these songs didn't get made. Express yourself. The day the niggas took over. Lil Ghetto Boy.
They're not at that level. Express yourself.
You praise Lil Ghetto Boy every time, and now you're trying to say it's not
I do, but he didn't write these records, man.
And neither did Kanye.
Kanye did write these records. Well, who wrote them, Coop? Who wrote them? No, we got to stop that. No. That we got to stop. We got to stop that. Who wrote them?
Hold on, I'm going to tell you what.
Who wrote them? No. Tell me who wrote them.
I'm going to tell you what. This is what I mean about the ghostwriting, Mike. Let's go ahead and pull up the songs.
Who wrote them?
No. Let's pull up his singles. You said you got these lists of singles and B-sides. Let's see the records.
Okay,
and Mike,
let me go.
When you say the name of the records, make sure you put who's featuring on all the records and watch how many times it says featuring on
Will do. All right, Through the Wire, platinum. All Falls Down, double platinum. Jesus Walks, triple platinum. Now, all of these songs.
No. Watch the features start after this, though, Mike. I'm glad that you named those three first. Now get to the features.
No,
list.
I'm just going in chronological order. The new workout plan, that's actually a gold record.
Who's on it?
Nobody.
Nobody's on it?
Nobody's on that record. Cut it out. Diamonds of Sierra Leone, platinum. Gold Digger, 8 times platinum. All of these songs, mind you, this is just solo missions for him.
It's 5 songs.
Heard Him Say, platinum. Another solo mission.
6.
Touch the Sky, platinum.
That's not
they
a
got
solo
Lupe
mission.
Fiasco on the last verse. Yeah.
Oh, pause. So pause for a second.
Yeah.
We got 6 solo shots for singles right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Rakim got him beat. But keep going, Mike.
Huh? Wait till I get to Jay. Wait till I get to Jay. Wait till I get to Jay. You went straight to Rakim. You went straight to Rakim. And you know what? Hold on. Let me put this in context too.
He barely got 10 hits by himself, Mike. And you talking about he's top 10.
I'm going in order. And honestly, if I started Jay's hits, we got features all the way down the line. But I'll get to that in a second.
Hustle, Dead Presidents.
None of them charted. The first one, all right, you want me to start there since you want me to, interrupt and we'll go to Jay.
No, let's go to Jay. No.
Since you want to pull that, cool.
We got 6 solo singles.
Since you want to pull that, I'll go to Jay first. We'll go to his 6, right? And I'm going to start with the ones that charted because none of the other shit you was talking about charted. Dead Presidents went gold. Give him that. So
no, Mike, you don't get to talk about what charted. We don't do numbers. We do in chronological order of the singles getting released like you did. You just shouting out the numbers because it's convenient to your argument.
No, it's not convenient to my argument.
Jay released the singles,
Cool.
No, you bugging. Don't try to
no. I'm bringing up
about the
hold on. Can I make my case?
What you doing, Mike?
Can I make my case? Because the reason why we hold Jay so high is because he is successful chart-wise, correct? We always talk about. So okay, you want me to just go down the line with the other singles then?
I want you to go in order of the actual songs Jay-Z made that got released and start comparing them to those Kanye songs that we're talking about, so you can see how absurd you sound.
Are you serious? Like, come on, hold on.
Yes, I'm serious, Mike. You want to compare Feeling It to Gold Digger?
Want to compare what to Gold Digger?
Feeling It to Gold Digger? You think Gold Digger's better than Feeling It?
Yes. It is. Hold up. Because we always talk about Jay's success, but now we don't want to talk about his success. Oh, let me get to the super chat real quick.
Mike, I'm not talking about success. I'm talking about quality.
Quality's opinion.
Feeling It's better than Gold Digger.
At the end of the day, both of these guys make quality work. And honestly, when I'm looking at these singles, Ye's singles are more quality. DeCarlo with the super chat says, Kanye is top 10 even with the ghostwriter. And the man still has hook making ability, song making ability, and classic album making ability. Jay Short with the super chat says Kanye is too famous to have B-sides, especially at this point. Carlo also says
to have B-sides. What kind of groupie ass shit is that to say? Next.
This really makes Coop mad, I see. DeCarlo says which Jay hit is overrated specifically, because personally the only overrated hits that he had are the ones on the Blueprint 3 and so on. Hold on. Let's see. Get some of these other super chats before I keep going. Peter Parks in the super chat says, "Song making and its quality doesn't mean hit making can be a great song for the streets too." Ilson with the super chat says, "There's a video of Ron Fest performing Jesus Walks before Kanye got it. Flow and a bunch of lines Kanye used. Consequence wrote for him also. Are you sure it's before Kanye got it? Because the beat was actually the Kanye produced beat. Like people sitting here acting like they were in the studio or something. Who y'all think made the beat? This
Can I
isn't the
ask you something?
situation. This isn't the situation where Alchemist gave Raz Kaz and Jadakiss the same beat, and we're sitting here speculating on who performed it first. The nigga made the beat. You don't think that he recorded it too? Like what are we talking about?
No, actually, he didn't record either one of them. He sent both of them the versions. And Razzcast's Home Sweet Home was actually a great record and probably would have been the record of his career too.
It's a dope record. JY with the super chat says, let's have the longevity combo between Ye and Dre. Don't want to do that. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, how much of adding Kanye to this list is production based versus rap based? This is a top 10 hip hop artist list, and if Ye's lyrics are over any other production, then it doesn't hit like that. This argument sounds impact based only. Does it? I think that the thing is, we can't punish the man for being a great producer, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't punish the MC for being a great producer.
I think that you were underestimating and understating how much help is involved in making these great albums. Now, if you want to talk about
songs, Coop. I'm going songs. How much help do you think was made in these songs that I listed?
If you want to, Mike, if you want to talk about impact and it belonging to Ye, yeah. But when I look at, and this is what I mean about his B-sides, Mike, when I look at what his best songs are, like most of his best songs to me, and that's not to say that he doesn't have solo shots, but Mike, his solo shots are not as long or as hard as the people that you're standing them next to. They're just not. And as far as the singles go, even if I give you that, like over Jay, these singles aren't like impactful or genre breaking singles. Like this ain't Rakim doing I Ain't No Joke, I Know You Got Soul, My Melody, but you have him up there with the God.
Coop. Respectfully.
This is not The World Is Yours and It Ain't Hard to Tell in One Love.
Respectfully.
It's not.
And I disagree with that part.
But you're placing him. Are you going to let me finish?
You keep bringing up. You keep bringing up Rakim. Let's talk about it in relation to Jay.
Biggie has better singles and B-sides, and he only did 2 albums.
You keep bringing up people other than Jay. Talk about Jay in that aspect, because Jay ain't got those Rakim records you talking about either.
I've been saying this stuff about Jay. Y'all the ones that have Jay so high. That's why I have Jay so high. Because of how he's impacted all of y'all, Mike. When this podcast started, you were arguing with me about whether he was better than Nas. Like, it's 2.5 years later, and we keep finding out that there's more separation as time goes by than we even realized before. But I've been saying that. So all of you all that have held Jay so high for so long, you all need to address that. I've never been one of those dudes. He's never been in my number 1 spot, ever.
So
y'all address that.
Why do you have him over this guy then?
No, mostly about impact.
You think
he's impacted y'all. That's what Mike, I keep telling you about his hustle and the hustler that he is. Because he's got all of y'all placing him like that. He was never like that for me when Big and Pac was alive and Rakim was coming back. And I said it then. I've been saying it on this podcast. I have him placed up high because of y'all, not because of me.
Don't blame us.
No, definitely y'all.
Blame us.
Definitely y'all.
No, because now you're sitting here arguing that you didn't want
me to.
But
he's still better than Kanye.
No, listen to me. You're sitting here arguing with me that you don't want me to highlight his hits. Why can't I highlight his hits? I'm putting hits up against hits. What's wrong with that?
No. See, I'm just
putting up the shit that charted.
Hold on. First of all, this is hip hop, Mike. And so when you brought up the numbers, and you brought up the whole hit thing. First of all, I've never seen you do that before. And that's why I was like, no, fam. Bring up the singles that got released. We making this about the music.
I'm going to get to that. But I think that one of the
you
big
acting like Can't
things.
Knock the Hustle just
Cool.
because it didn't go gold isn't an all-time great rap song.
Coop, you know how I love those records, and you know how I love Reasonable Doubt. But again, I think in the root of Jay and his glorious, illustrious career, and why he sat on that stage and said nobody wants to go hit for hit with him in a versus. It's based on hits. It's not based on those records you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm starting there. I'm not starting there on some Nelly shit. I'm not putting Jay up against Nelly and country grammar numbers. I'm not. I'm just going with two artists who have hip hop based high quality already. Like, I don't think quality is a question between Kanye and Jay-Z. So that's already out of the arena. It's not like I'm sitting here putting Jay-Z up against Vanilla Ice. You know what I mean? Like, quality's already there. So now, since he's such a hit maker, and he's one of the biggest hit makers numerically in hip-hop history. So that's why I'm going with the hits, because a lot of people harp on Jay with the hits. That's his strength.
Okay, so but this is what I mean. When you're doing that, Mike, you're being unfair to records like Made You Look.
Again, you're naming other artists. I wouldn't do that if I was talking about Nas versus Kanye West. I would position it different. But Jay-Z's strength is in his hits. That's why I started my whole breakdown on that.
It's not.
It is.
Not in his hits.
You're talking about you personally.
No, I'm talking about the factual songs when you line up what his best songs are. His best
You're
songs
in
are
denial.
not hits.
You're in denial.
You're in denial.
We're talking about two different things.
Songs are hits. That is ludicrous.
Cool. I never said that. We've said on this podcast, I've said, I know you've heard me say, Jay's strength is in his B-sides, quality-wise. But
correct.
Where he stands in this game, and the reason why he's married to Beyonce is not because of no fucking politics as usual. You know that. Let's be real. Him getting in the Rock and Roll, him getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has nothing to do with those records you're speaking of. Right?
He's a hustler, homie.
And he could only, and you know why he's able to hustle? Because he got hits, right? Yeah. It's not because of the evils. So it's not because of those records. It's not because of 1,000,001. We know those records are great. But that's not the records that have made him the legend he is. On a mainstream level, it's not. So that's why I'm going with the hits.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. but what I'm saying is that, Mike, when you're doing that, what's the criteria say? Impact, live performance, lyric storytelling, classic albums / songs, longevity of albums / songs, classic collaborations, career longevity quality, voice. Why are you bringing up hits? That's not part of the criteria.
Let me answer. The reason why I'm bringing up hits is because I think it goes to my position as Kanye West as a song maker and a quality song maker. And when I look at a lot of these records that were very successful, it's just him by himself, right? And when I look on the other end, when we're talking about the other artist who is heralded for being one of the biggest hit makers in hip hop, along with LL Cool J, it doesn't line up with Kanye West's hits and the lack of help that he has on his hits. Whereas if you look at Jay-Z's hit records, and that's why I highlight the hits, it looks like Dead Presidents. It looks like Can I Get Her, which is helped by Ja Rule and Emil. Ja Rule did that hook. You got Hard Knock Life, that's a solo mission, and you got Money Cash Hoes, which is DMX, Swiss, you know what I mean? And you got Nigga What Nigga Who, which is Jazz, Emil again. You got Do It Again, that's Beanie Siegel. You got Big Pimpin', that's UGK, and I could continue on. So I wanted to highlight the fact that when we're talking about from a song-making standpoint, the other guy, Through the Wire, All Falls Down, Jesus Walks, Workout Plan, Diamond, Gold Digger, these are all platinum plus singles on solo missions. And I think that's impressive. On quality records on top of that.
Okay.
And an array of subject matter.
Now I would like you to let me speak. And I'm going to say this to you in full. And I'm going to take everything that you said and fine. But Mike, respectfully, that don't have anything to do with the criteria. You just inserted that. So that's not part of the criteria. You're doing that to try to make your argument. And I get that. but nowhere is that in the criteria. And
It
so
it,
everything
it
that
speaks to song making and impact.
okay, so I'm going to go to this again, and I'm going to try to explain this to you. And I'm pretty certain that you understand this, Mike, because you were there. Well, Mike, if you think that Gold Digger is going to resonate in the canon of hip hop the way Dead Presidents 2 is, then what are we doing here? Because you and I both know, Mike, that although Gold Digger might be a bigger hit it might be a single that turned into a bigger hit record than Jay's single that turned into a classic hip hop record. But Mike, what we doing right here is hip hop. And Kanye's Gold Digger sales, quite frankly, don't matter or equate into this conversation at all. And you need to stop trying to insert it to make the argument for him about his classic and quality songmaking. Nobody is debating Kanye's ability to make a great song. You know this, Mike. Most of the great hip hop songs that were ever recorded, they all have different MCs, but there's usually a great producer behind the hip hop song. Look at Wu-Tang's run, RZA, Dr. Dre, Death Row. No, most of the stuff is sitting around a producer. You want to know why? Because more than anybody else, you want to know what great producers get? Like when you prove yourself to be a great producer, you know what you get at the drop of a dime? Help from everybody. And that's what all everybody is saying. And none of these other guys that are this high up on this list have this level of help, Mike. And My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is an example of that. That's what I mean. No, we don't have to talk about the hits. We can just talk about like the actual records. Go look at all his great records that aren't these big hits that you're talking about. Oh, well, those are the records that have help. A So Appalled, a Let Me Down. What's the one with Get 'Em High?
We'll get to all of that. This is just
words.
Cool. This is just part one. I want to get through part one. We're gonna slow play this. I hear what you're saying, but for every one of those, I could have solo shots and some great B-sides as well. But I do want to get to this. I want to get to this one thing that you.
Can I live, Mike?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think it's very convenient to harp on reasonable doubt in this argument, but. What I would like to actually,
volume one. Would you like me
what I would like to correlate, and I think it's a little bit dishonest to try to compare Gold Digger with Dead Presidents. I would much rather like a through the wire Dead Presidents comparison. I think it's a little bit more even.
Still Dead Presidents.
No, Jay's incredible. I think Dead Presidents is one of the greatest, hip hop songs of all time. My personal favorite Jay-Z song.
Jay's got more of those than Ye. Like Ye may have more hits. But Jay has more classic hip hop records than Kanye, even to this day.
You're for this argument, and it's funny over Jay's long illustrious career. It's very interesting that you're sticking within 96 and 97. You're not venturing too far.
I don't have to go beyond that to fade.
You do have to go beyond that. It's not a 2-year career thing.
This is what
It's not a 2-year career thing.
Okay,
you think reasonable?
Here's what Kanye doesn't have. Kanye doesn't have those records that these other guys have as a solo shot that make you feel like that's one of the best MCs I've ever heard. He just doesn't, Mike, and therefore not part of this conversation, really. Now, if you want to talk about everything else, then he probably qualifies or quantifies himself on some sort of level. And because of that, I might have made a misstep about not putting him in the top 20.
Now, Let me
finish, please. I'm almost done. But to sit him next to, but to place him somewhere between Biggie and KRS-One and Ice Cube. Like, it's one of those things, Mike, I'm just going to tell you, it just doesn't pass the eye test like that. It doesn't really pass the ear test because it's like, no, hold on. I love me some Gold Digger, but you telling me that we putting that nigga ahead over the dude that made America's Most Wanted and death certificate?
Well, since you want to bring up...
No. We don't do that in rap. That's why this is hip-hop, Mike.
Again, Coop.
We don't do that
Since you want to harp on Gold Digger...
Drake's in and Dre's in.
Since you want to harp on Gold Digger because it's obviously a record that you don't specifically love. That's like me harping on Ice Cube making You Could Do It, Put Your Back Into It, or you know what I'm saying, We Be Clubbing. Gold Digger's better than those.
We Be Clubbing.
Yeah, the shit happened. You know what I mean? Let me get to this super chat so we don't isolate the people. Blue Collar Hustle says, name the top 10 MC who has a video of his ghostwriter performing his iconic song 2 years before release. Jesus Walk was written by Rhymefest. No, it wasn't. And if y'all think that because Rhymefest never said he wrote the record. He never said that. DJ Bruce Almighty says, we don't always know who Ghost wrote music. Keyword. 36 Chambers says, to follow that up, I don't listen to Kanye more versus anyone else in your list. It's not a popularity contest. We only hold Jay high lyrically as a fan. I mean, that sounds great. I agree, but that's not why the masses hold him high. It's the hit records. We're not gonna sit here and act like Jay is not heralded for his hit records, and that's why I actually brought to the table his hit records versus another guy's hit records.
See, but this is what I'm
Just
saying.
You Run with the super chat says, if you're talking about hip hop artists, then Kanye and Dr. Dre are top 10 rap artists. They're not lyricists, MCs to me though. Hov and Nas are great hip hop artists and lyricists. It's a difference. Okay.
This is the MC's list, by the way.
It is an MC's list. Mike 100 says, Jay got corny hits like Holy Grail with Justin Timberlake. Bonnie and Clyde 03 was underwhelming. Fame helped Jay, not quality. DeCarlo with the super chat says, according to that ghostwriter list that you posted on Twitter, Dre hasn't made a hit since 2001. And those hits are all credited to Snoop, Jay-Z, Royce, and Eminem. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think Dre really registers, man. I think that,
Hold on, but when Dre has ghostwriting credits, you believe them, but we keep telling you Kanye has credits, and you're like, no, that's not true. So you're picking and choosing.
I'm not picking and choosing.
People have literally sent you stuff, and people keep saying it repeatedly, Mike.
Cool.
You're literally the only person.
No one has sent proof.
The only person that believes what you believe right now.
No one has sent proof. The writing, when we talk about writing or whatever, it's known that people wrote Dr. Dre stuff. You could even hear it in the records. If you have an ear for music, which I know you do, Coop, that's why you're doing this show. When you hear Wake Up in the AM, compose the beat, I bring the fire till you're soaking in your seat. You know who that is that wrote that. When you hear things are saying for gangsters, time is changing, young niggas is aging, becoming OG, you know who wrote that. I can't hear that in any of Kanye West's records. I can't. His shit sounds like him. Period. Ron Fest don't sound like him. Who wrote his verse on Chain Heavy? Because he got a better verse than all the niggas on that song.
Here's what I will tell you.
And like we said on the previous show, when you got Falling Back on That Ass, where the hellified gangster lean, I mean, not Snoop's verse, but when Dre comes in there, you could tell the Snoop wrote G thing. You can.
Snoop's right.
Let's not, let's not play crazy. Like, I'm not sitting here being oblivious. If it sound like Pusha T wrote Kanye shit, I would say it. It doesn't. We know what rappers sound like. We know what these guys sound like. We know how Dr. Dre's delivering on Three Kings that Rick Ross wrote that shit. Let's not be crazy here. Jay Short with the super chat says, in fairness, Mike, if you're using charts, Eminem is over Ye, but the quality's not there. And the only reason why I'm using charts is because when we talk about quality, Jay-Z and Kanye are in a similar dimension. Eminem is over Ye. Eminem charted this high because he's white. Let's just keep it real. The ear test says that Jay is better. This is only a debate because Jay chose to be commercial. Obviously, Jay's the better lyricist, but he's not the better songmaker. DeCarlo with the super chat says, that same list also gives Kanye writers credit for Jay-Z and Drake. So Ye needs more respect. Now that you mention that, we all saw what was that for the Black Album? What was it? Not Blackout. You know what I'm talking about. The DVD for the last concert when he was in Madison Square Garden.
Lucifer?
Yeah. When Kanye basically gave him all the lines for Lucifer. But we never say Kanye wrote Lucifer for Jay. That's just collaboration, man. I gotta get my soul right. I gotta get these demons out of my life. Did he write Lucifer for Jay? No.
Okay.
36 Chambers says Kanye's production elevates him too high on this list. Do a top 10 producers list and put him that high. But hip hop artist list, nah. Impact, yes. Lyrics, no. Lyricist is a separate list, guys.
But he's not an MC like that, Mike. That's what I'm saying. This is still an MC's list. as in comprehensively what the MC does. And I'm trying to tell you that he actually, you know what he is really, Mike? He's the best producer to ever MC. And so he can, because he's the best producer to ever MC, listen to what I'm saying. He can actually take the shit that people give him and make it his own because he's a bigger star and more charismatic than the MC is. He's the first producer to have it that way. Like Dr. Dre's not more charismatic than Snoop or Jay or even Eminem. You understand? So when he delivers it, it's not coming off. No, Kanye is more charismatic and a bigger star than the people that are feeding him shit, Mike. And that's what I hear. So when you're saying that, it's like, oh, no. I do totally believe that it's going on, Mike, because there's no way that it hasn't been going on. You can go look at the credits. I don't forget Jesus Walks. I'm gonna give him credit for Jesus Walks like you do, Mike. But when I look at all his comprehensive works, and you literally fold out the book, and you look at all the songs that are actually all-time great, like the singles I'm going to give you, if you go look at his all-time great songs, oh no, Mike, almost all of them have help. The ones that you named, that you've almost named all of them that don't have help, I think, outside of Can't Tell Me Nothing and Power.
Well, y'all didn't let me get to any of those. Can I finish the list?
I love me
quick?
Some Flashing Lights though.
Can I? That's a solo mission too. And again, listen,
go ahead. I
want to put a star by Touch the Sky because I think
that's Lupe. That's a feature,
I understand what you're saying, but can I explain that? And because none of us, and I had heard of Lupe before because I worked in radio. I got all that Arista promo CDs with Lupe on it. I thought he was dope. Touch the Sky was him showcasing Lupe. You know what I mean? And that was a jump off record. And I ain't saying this to disrespect Lupe because Lupe's verse is brilliant on there. But that song is what it is, even if Lupe's not on there. Like that song, if you cut that song off its 2 verses, he did that for Chicago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Putting Lupe on that record was to elevate and showcase a new artist that could rhyme. You really think he, quote unquote, needed Lupe on that record?
No. Do you think Nas needed AZ on Life's a Bitch when you listen to the rest of Illmatic? But Illmatic still
and I'm not
going
to sit there and
Illmatic. When we talk about Illmatic, though, what do we say? It has one.
Yeah, and it has an incredible feature. And
feature from somebody who was unknown, Mike. But the fact that he was unknown didn't change the fact that it was a feature.
I understand what you're saying, but no one ever positions that record like Nas needed him on that record, and that's how people are positioning Lupe on Touch the Sky.
I'm not positioning it like that per se, but Lupe's verse on there is stellar.
It's dope.
Hold on. It's a coming out party, and it does help make that song finish and feel more complete. It does. Not to say that it wouldn't have been great without Lupe, but he got busy on there. Lupe got down on there. So it's like when you're saying that, it's like, oh no. I don't like the prospects of that song without Lupe's verse is what I'm saying.
But see, that's what's so great about this guy and his music and his albums, especially in that era. His time, everything that he did, he didn't have like some features where niggas dialed it in. People came to his albums to showcase themselves. Look at Twista on Slow Jam.
He's a great producer. That's what I'm saying.
Let me finish though. But again, y'all are punishing him for being a great producer.
I'm not punishing him. He's doing what great producers do. He's letting the real MC shine on his records.
Who's helping who? Because when people come let me finish, man. When people come on his shit, they're giving their best shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not just dialing it in.
Great producer,
have you heard
like
Get 'Em High?
On the Purple tape when you hear those beats. When you hear the beats on the Purple tape, Mike, you're not, oh, let me come with my B minus game. No, Mike. When you're hearing the beats on the Chronic and Doggy Style, you're like, oh no, let me come with my C minus. No, Mike, they're coming with their A game because the production is A1. Well, we had the same conversation.
Well, who's the catalyst for that?
On Cheat Codes. When Danger Mouse's production on Cheat Codes is A1, guess what Black Thought is? A1. That's how this game works. So when you're talking about Kanye's tracks that have artists featured on them, it's the same thing that's going on with Dr. Dre. It's some of the best production you've ever heard. Therefore, you're going to get some of the best mic performances.
It's not
very simple.
It's not the same. And I think it's a lot deeper than the production itself. When you got Common on Get 'Em High, that's an important moment for him. Common needs that. No. Let's keep it a buck. Common needed that feature more than Kanye did comment on that feature, correct?
Hold on. Pause for a second. This is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. You keep on saying that and saying these things, and what I'm trying to tell you is that no, late registration is not the same without that Lupe verse. The college dropout is not the same without that Talib and Common verse. No matter how much they needed it, it doesn't change the fact that those records on that album with the help is part of why those albums are so classic. And when you look at his classic albums, most of the classic songs have help, as in about half.
Actually, I'm
Jay don't
going
have
through a
that.
lot that don't. No. Jay's shit
No,
got
I said
help.
classic, not hits, Mike. Like you keep
Jay's
trying to
shit
do. I said
got
classic
help.
records. No, classic records. Like that's why I keep trying to tell you, a hip hop classic matters more than this hit shit you talking in hip hop, Mike. It always has. We've never been about that over a song being a hip hop classic. Jay's got more hip hop classics on a solo mission than Kanye could pray to have. He's got damn near more Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1. That's what I keep trying to tell you. Kanye don't have no You Must Love Me and a Where I'm From right before
Seriously?
it. Like literally
Man,
in
Kanye
sequence.
got
He don't
mad
have no
songs better
imaginary.
than
No,
You
Mike,
Must
he
Love
doesn't
Me.
have no imaginary player streets is watching back to back on no album. No, he
You
doesn't.
are
He
bugging.
doesn't have a
We'll go
damn
through the
presidents
albums.
or feeling it in the evils and a 22 twos and a Can I Live lined up nowhere in his catalog. So when you
We'll go
saying
through
this,
the
it's just
the album
not
stuff.
true.
We'll go through the album stuff. 36 Chambers says
You don't want to do that.
KRS
He gonna
birth
slide like he should.
KRS-One birth more to the game to the genre from an impact over Ye. Yeah, you know, I can dig that. Uncle Fran with the super chat says, why are we framing it differently between Nas and Kanye? I was saying that I would frame it differently because I would make it more of a quality conversation because honestly, when it comes to the hits, that wouldn't be fair to Nas. I'm just showing how multi-dimensional this MC is. Like, if you want to go with the hits, cool. If you want to go with the song structure, cool. If you want to go album for album, cool. If you want to go for feature game, cool. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, Mike, J fans never ran to him for his singles. Really? Kanye is commercial. They're in two different lanes. We're comparing commercial music to street hits. You know, this is hilarious to me because I remember when Kanye dropped and, you know, and he even literally had the backpack on his back. Now people are talking. He was the backpacker. And no. When he dropped, he was the backpacker. Jay-Z was too big to get on Dave Chappelle. All Dave Chappelle had on his show was the backpack niggas. You know what I mean? But now this guy's the commercial guy. It's hilarious. It's funny to see how times change.
I'm not going to totally coincide with that train of thought, but here's what I'm going to submit to you, and this is what I mean about the difference. Let's take, when you're talking about this whole single thing, I'm like, no, Mike, Kanye don't have a You Don't Know in a PSA as a solo MC, you feel me? That's what I'm talking about. No, Mike, those are singles. Now, did Gold Digger outsell those records? Yes, they did. Now, what is Gold Digger next to those records, really, when we talking about this rap shit? It's nothing, Mike. Like,
are you harping on Gold Digger?
PSA and You Don't Know literally destroy Gold Digger, and you know it.
I think Can't Tell Me Nothing's better than PSA.
And what I'm trying to tell you is that on Kanye's repertoire, Gold Digger would be very, very high. Well, You Don't Know and PSA would be very, very high on Jay's repertoire. And when you go high up on the repertoire, Jay's high shit destroys Kanye's high shit. Period, point blank. It don't matter if it's single. You can go pick the 20 best Kanye records. I'll pick the 20 best Jay records. I'm going to give that shit to you, Mike.
I would love to take that matchup.
Because here's what I'm saying. I can give you 20 Jay songs without features. You can't do that with Ye.
I can do that. No,
you can't.
I can. I did the
research. You can't name 20 songs right now.
I'm doing it right now. You won't let me finish.
Where I would wax your ass.
I'm doing it right now. You won't let me finish.
You want to get up on Patreon? 20 J versus 20 Ye. No features.
I would love to do that.
I can
also
pull about
can't
14
tell me
records from the first two albums, Mike, and Kanye don't have nothing for any of them.
Well, I mean, of course you're just gonna go on the first two albums. I mean, that's
They got created, didn't they? Didn't they get created?
You know what? I challenge you to step outside of Reasonable Doubt and Volume 1.
No. I challenge
because
you
I'm about to go all across the board.
Ye so high.
You know,
because I'm gonna fade you with Jay's 20 best. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. Not only would Jay fade Ye in that battle, well, so would Nas, Rakim, Tupac, Biggie, KRS, Ice Cube, Snoop, LL, Scarface. and Ghostface and
Not true.
Raekwon and probably Wayne and Common.
You
Chuck D would
sound
probably be the
crazy
stopping
right
point.
now.
We need to slide your man's down into the
Nah,
next 10, Mike.
nah. And again,
You don't have no
you're not giving
evidence,
me any
Mike.
real proof on why. Because
No,
again,
Mike, you had to bring up record sales, so I know you don't have any
no,
evidence.
I'm just starting here, and you're trying to just totally denigrate the conversation. I'm bringing that up because we always talk about Jay's hit making skills. We do. Anyway, can't tell me nothing's better than PSA. DeCarlo with the super chat says it is. Why are we acting?
Mike?
No,
Who
no.
you be
DeCarlo
talking to that
says
feels this way?
no. DeCarlo says, why are we acting like hits don't matter? Hits literally are what give legends the fame and relevance that they use to make hip hop as big as it is. I agree with DeCarlo. Impact is really based on hits, and when we talk about big, we talk about hits.
No, we don't. We talk about everything, Mike.
We do, but it's
Big got you beat on the hits and the B-sides. We say that all the time. We say he's the most well-rounded MC ever. No,
Yeah.
we don't say that he just made hits.
no. We say, but again, we say that
Now
largely.
we lying up in here.
Can I finish? We
No,
say
'cause
that
that's bullshit, Mike.
largely.
You sit up here trying to perpetrate it
I'm
like
not.
we talk about
I'm
big
not.
hit
Listen.
making when we talk about the totality of
You're
this
not gonna
MC
let me
every
finish.
time we talk
You're
about
not gonna
big. No,
fin-
because y'all on that
You're not
bullshit,
gonna let
Mike.
me finish. Listen, the reason why we say that, obviously he could do the street shit, but what made Big different than the rest of the niggas that like Prodigy or whatever, respectfully, was his ability to make hits as well, seamlessly. That's what made him the most rounded, because Big was able to do everything that most of the typical New York MCs could do, but he could also make hit records. Him and Pac, that's what made them different. They were the ones that were able to usher hip hop into commercial radio that was just playing R&B at the time. We do talk about that. That is a very important part of Biggie's legacy. His ability to make One More Chance is huge. Nobody in his time could do that. Like he said, y'all were grimy in the early 90s, far behind me. What he means by that is the fact that he could make shit that them niggas couldn't make. And the hits are a big part of that. We can't act like it's not. Because it doesn't fit our narrative.
For me. Hold on, you're making my point for me. And so I'm gonna ask you to just stay right there where you are. You just literally bought up all these MCs and their ability to do what? Make street records. And then the guys who separated themselves were the guys who made the singles. You want to know why you started off talking about the street records and then spinning off into the hit singles when talking about Big? Because usually here, what's more important, Mike? Making a hit record or making the street classic first? In hip hop, be honest with yourself.
Yeah, it's a street record. But just because I started this discussion on the hits.
Listen. So respectfully, Mike. So respectfully speaking, what I'm telling you that Kanye doesn't belong on this list, it's not because of the A-sides. I started off this conversation telling you, it's like, no, this isn't about the hits. This is about the B-sides, because all of his great and classic B-sides, they all have help.
Again, I disagree with you, and I'm going to
other
get
dudes
to
don't
that.
have that. He doesn't have a Who Shot You or Streets Is
Again,
Watching.
I'm going to get to that. You won't allow me to get to that because we're still going through his hits. We're still going through the hits.
We're not going through hits. We're going through singles.
Yeah, they're hits though. These are like 8-time platinum hits. You can't say a single that is platinum isn't a hit.
No. Okay, Mike, if we doing this shit like based on numbers, and it's like Snoop should have been number one after he dropped Doggy Style, but that's not how this shit works.
I'm not basing everything on what I'm saying right now. This is
numbers,
part
Mike.
one. This is part one. We got a long show to go. I got to start somewhere. Gosh, I can't even get to the second part. LP with the super chat says, if we knock Dre for help during his best work, then Ye has to get the same treatment. We said Snoop only got help at the tail end. Rhymefest and Consequence both wrote during the majority of his best stuff. Got to keep the same energy. What did they write, LP? Please tell me, because again, we hear this thing about Consequence or whatever, and I say this respectfully. Every song that Consequence and Ye are on, Ye is smoking him on the record. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Chain Heavy, like Grammy Family. So he wrote his verse but gave the other guy the better verse? What happened? Just You Run with the super chat says, Jay, Nas, Big, Rakim, Pac are better and ahead of Kanye. But after that, Kanye is better than the rest of, as an artist. making him a top 10 artist all time. I'm fine with that. All of those
Okay.
people you said, I agree with that. Just you run. Let's see. Let me get to the other super chats and we will continue this. This is fun. I know this sounds like we're getting heated, but we're just passionate about the culture and our sides. Eric Terrell with the super chat
You're also wrong.
says, Coop, Kanye is Prince / Donny Hathaway of MCs. I'm with you, Eric Terrell. Kanye West is Prince. DeCarlo with the super chat
not.
says,
You niggas are high.
see, y'all really want to make Coop mad now. DeCarlo says, Coop, Kanye can legit do a greatest hits twice, like Eminem, except all the songs would be legitimate hits that can't be ignored. I'm with you, DeCarlo. 36 Chambers says,
don't you ever in your life mention Kanye West in the same breath as Prince. Like,
he
it's
is
the same
hip-hop's
type
Prince.
of genius going on. We're talking about a man that could play every instrument. That nigga Kanye can't even play 2 or 3 instruments. Don't ever do that shit again.
Prince is Prince, but if we want to talk about a hip hop equivalent, it's Kanye West.
No, a hip hop equivalent would be somebody being able to play instruments, like all of them, which means there is none.
Like Wyclef?
We're not about to do
you
that.
don't want to give Clef his credit.
We're not about to do that.
Clef is hip hop's musician. What is the beef?
Damn sure ain't Kanye. Don't ever do that again. This is what I'm talking about. How people change narratives. He tried to put Prince and Kanye in the same sentence. I'm not about to let you.
I think
do that.
Kanye is hip hop's Prince.
As soon as he can play an instrument, y'all let me know. When you're talking about Prince, you're talking about instrumentation.
Does the MPC count as an instrument?
Huh?
Does the MPC count as an instrument?
Prince know how to work that too, and better than Kanye.
Yeah, we're not comparing the two. We're not saying that
No, actually, you just better. Did.
We're not comparing. We're saying that he is hip hop's version.
You're not gonna do that on this show.
36 Chambers says, due to these hits, put Kanye in a in the top music all time list. But is he really on the top MCs list? That's where it feels out of place. Great musician, not MC. Eric Terrell says, I wonder, good morning, flashing lights, and real friends. Coop, stop hating. Kanye is the truth. That's what I'm talking about. Kanye fans in here standing up. We got a super chat by Ed. $20 super chat. Appreciate the love. He said, it's been documented. Even the Netflix documentary, Rhyme Fest was there in the background in his studio session. Drake has stated that he wrote for Kanye on Duppy Freestyle. Listen to Gorgeous and tell me that it isn't clearly ghostwritten. Ghostwritten by who? And again, I saw that same documentary you guys saw, and it sounded like Rhyme Fest and Kanye both had the same track. They were working on a song together, and Rhyme Fest was rapping the stuff because he was into it. It's a great record. Now, did the whole concept for Jesus Walks, as far as like finding the sample and all that, come from Rhyme Fest? Sure. But did the song, that's yay, man.
Can I tell you something, Mike?
Sure.
Okay. I want to bring up my beautiful dark twisted fantasy after you bring up your hits.
We skipping around.
I want you to finish your hits. No, I actually told you. I want you to finish running down the Kanye's hits.
Okay.
After you run down Kanye's hits, I would like to talk about my beautiful dark twisted fantasy momentarily to kind of forge the conversation somewhere in the middle and provide maybe some amicable solution.
And you know what?
Because here's the thing, Mike, you're not wavering at all on this ghostwriting thing. And Mike, you just got to stop lying to yourself. You know he's had ghostwriting help at some point.
He's had ghostwriters after my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. This is what I will say. This is what I will say about his quote unquote help. And you remember growing up, well, at least, when I was growing up, Missy Elliott's albums, these were like a future trip, right? And I think that the featured appearances on there was such a big deal because we knew that we were going to get some of the best in the game on some new shit on Missy's stuff. I feel like Kanye's albums, especially everything from Graduation on, it felt like a showcase time for artists. Like I said, with Lupe being
because he's a producer, Mike.
With Lupe being on Touch the Sky, it's like, okay, this is a jump start for him. Like, same thing with my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. When we heard Kid Cudi for the first time, you had a breakout verse from Nicki. You had a breakout verse from or appearance from Rick Ross. Really, Pusha T as a solo artist that breakout was really in My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Same thing with Sci-Hi the Prince. First time people really heard him, that record. Common changing his image away from what happened on Electric Circus. That happened on Get 'Em High. You know what I mean? Like, so it feels like when we talk about quote unquote help in that light, I guess the word help kind of seems weird to use because these appearance these appearances helped the artist more than it helped. I mean, it helped the artist that was featured more than it helped the person that featured them. You know what I mean? Jamie Foxx was able to spin off and get a whole career off of his appearance from Slow Jams. Twista was able to get a whole resurgence off of being on Slow Jam. So it's like
Get a platinum plat.
yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So these appearances that people had on this man's work, it helped them. So these aren't like regular, you know what I'm saying, I need a feature. But again, that does speak to the fact that he's a great producer as well.
This is okay.
But, you know, that's what makes him more unique than everybody else on
Right.
this list.
Right, but the truth has to be somewhere in the middle is what I'm trying to submit to you, Mike. And I promise I'm going to let you get to the singles after I say this, because I think we're starting to make some progress. Because this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. No, I agree with everything that you're saying, because Kanye, listen, first and foremost, is such a stellar, all-time great hip hop producer. He's not Prince, motherfuckers. He's a stellar all-time great hip-hop producer. And when you have a stellar all-time great hip-hop producer, Mike, no matter where you put them, no matter what era you put them in, you're going to see the results in records. Marley Marl, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, The RZA, Dr. Dre, Jay Dilla. Oh, no, it doesn't. Q-Tip. It does, Havoc. When you're great, Mike, you're great, and you're going to have the records that reflect it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to tell you is that it appears to me, when I look at it, that what makes Kanye special is that of all the super producers that have emceed as well, oh, he clearly not only, Mike, is the best MC, but the best songwriter and the most charismatic. That does not change the fact that when you play his solo shots next to KRS-One solo shots and Ice Cube solo shots, oh no, it's not the same shit, Mike, even if the hit's bigger. And even if the song is what you would say crafted better, it doesn't sit all the way like you're listening to an all-time great MC. It sounds like you're listening to the best hybrid guy ever do what he does best, which is put people in positions to win. And so as much as I love me some Power, Mike, which is his solo shot on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, oh, well, that's not really better than Gorgeous or So Appalled or Devil in a Blue Dress or Runaway. Him by himself isn't when he produces his best results. Oh, no, these other guys, like literally have not just 5, 6, 10, 15 songs, like about half of their career is showing, oh, no, I'm excellent by my goddamn self, and my best shit is actually by myself. You and I talk all the time about how Jay has actually hurt himself, Mike, with these features because his best records are what, Mike?
Or when he's by himself.
That's not the truth with Kanye. That's what I'm telling you. It's like, oh, you can't tell me that crack music is better. You can't tell me Gold Digger's better than crack music. Game on that hook on crack music and the way that beat drops. Oh no, I'll take crack music over Gold Digger when I'm playing that album. I'll take We Major over Heard 'Em Say.
Hold on. You're not counting crack music as a solo shot?
Oh, no. Game on that crack music.
That's on the hook.
Mike.
Are we doing that? Come on, man.
Hold on, you bring
so we don't count.
No. Giving Jay the Lucifer hook.
No.
Up all the time to make an argument.
I'm only saying that with the Lucifer thing because we actually saw Kanye go in there and actually craft some of the bars that's on there. Now, I never would sit there and say Snoopy track's not a solo shot from Jay because Juvenile's on the hook. I would never do that.
Do you think that Kanye wrote the hook to crack music, or do you think Game did?
I think Kanye did.
Okay.
It literally sounds like Game is in there doing what Kanye wants him to do.
You mean
That
like
real
producers
black
set
music,
people up?
nigga.
Hold on, you mean like all-time great producers do when they're setting the MCs up for success because they're not the all-time great MC themselves?
No, he put him on the record. I mean, he put him on the record. He's like, even the cadence, that sounds like Kanye. It's that crack music, nigga. That real black music, nigga. You think that Game came up with that or Kanye came up with that?
Definitely think Game came up with that.
Really? I
Yeah.
disagree with you. Now, I think
I
what you
feel like
said
that was actually
before,
probably Game's record first when I listened to it.
I think it
Actually.
was. And I think that, again,
Yeah.
it was given to Game with the hook already in tow from the producer.
But somehow Ye finished the track.
Well, I mean,
that's-
he kept him
but
on
that's-
there.
But
He
what I'm
kept
trying
him
to
on
say is that when you look at his greatest records, Mike, even Gorgeous, Mike, Kid Cudi, and Raekwon, no, that record ain't the same.
It
So
is.
Paul,
He has the hold on. Now,
what's
on
a Black
Gorgeous,
Beetle anyway?
on
A fucking Rose-
Gorgeous,
I know
he
he's
has
got the best bars
best-
on there, Mike.
he has
I
the
know he's
best
got the
verses
best bars on there.
Yeah, he has the best bars on there.
But that song is a moment, and Cudi on that hook and Ray on that song make that song extra special. It does.
I'm gonna say this, and I say
You
this
keep trying to talk
respectfully.
about what could have happened, Mike. You
No,
don't get to do
I'm
that.
not
Stop
talking
doing
about-
that. No, that's
I've
the second
never
time
said
we've
what
talked
coulda
about-
happened.
Talk that way though. Like
I've
about a
never
song, it's
said
like,
what
we
coulda
can take Ray's
happened.
verse off. We can take Lupe's verse off. No, we can't, because Ye ain't got it like that as an MC. Don't you get that?
I disagree with you.
That's why do you
I think
he
that's
enlists
your
people to
preference.
sew this shit up, Mike? Because
Coop,
he knows that. He knows what you
Coop.
don't know, which is he's not a KRS-One or a Biggie on the mic or a Jay on the mic. He knows that. That's why he gets Common and Game and Paul Wall and Lupe
Does
and
he?
Nas and Jay and Talib
And he has
Mos
plenty of
and
records where he
Freeway
doesn't do that.
and
Cool.
Rick
I think
Ross
that
and Nicki Minaj and Kid Cudi. You want me to keep going, Mike? That's what I'm saying. Like his whole career is based on that. He's a producer first. It's okay.
No, I think that's
He's
how
not a
you
top
view
10
him.
MC, Mike.
And-
He's not a
and
top 10 MC, Mike. What's his best
listen,
verse?
Hold on, let me finish, man. I think his best verse might be the verse on Two Words, actually. It's one of them. Actually, no, I think his best verse is his second verse on Chain Heavy. Or
Case
I would
closed.
even elect his second verse on The Joy as well. But this is what I will say.
Those are his three best verses, Mike. He definitely doesn't deserve to be like on this list because like Jay and Nas have had down years where they spit shit like that, and we've told them niggas they need to step up. He don't belong in the top 10.
I disagree with you. And I think that
The
once again,
Nostradamus level bars.
I think no, definitely not. But I mean, because we can even hear what he did on Hip Hop Is Dead when Nas was on the record, and you know he did his thing. What I was gonna say though, I think that what you said about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I think it speaks to how you listen to Kanye's music. You would rather hear him do features as opposed to listening to him by himself. Because
No, those songs are better. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, the songs with their features are better.
Man. Can I finish my train of thought? I think the best songs on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are the actual first song, Dark Fantasy, and I think Power is one of the strongest songs. But I think that since you don't listen to him like that as an MC, you probably go straight to the records that got other people on them.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I love the intro. I love Power. I don't think those songs are better than So Appalled or Gorgeous or Devil in a Blue Dress. They're not. They're just not, Mike.
Let me get to these super chats real quick. He said, never forget, I'm sorry, Xavier Logistics says, never forget Kanye Carey watched The Throne. I'm going to get to that too.
Oh, no,
Believe
no.
me, I got that on
You're
my
right about
notes.
that shit.
Jay Short with the super chat says, what makes this interesting is Jay was kind of past his prime when Jay and Ye rapped together, so it makes it sound closer than it is. Watch the Throne would have been a Run the Jewels situation in 98. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Jay don't have an All Falls Down, Coop. He really doesn't.
Heart of the City.
Huh? No.
Heart of the City.
I love Heart of the City, but it's not that. I mean, it's a whole different lane. I think it's one of his best songs. My favorite
Song
collaboration between them two.
Song Cry.
All Falls Down's a better song than Song Cry.
I think All Falls Down is a top 5 Kanye song, so I would agree with you on that. But stop making it seem like that Jay doesn't have records like that to compete. That's what I'm saying.
I think what it is
Catalog super deep.
I think what it is Jay doesn't have, and this is why I go to the numbers.
You just don't like to hear that from Jay.
I'm not trying to. Let me finish. Let me finish. When we get stuff like All Falls Down from Jay, it ends up being 444 quality, right? And that's why I went to the numbers. And the numbers aren't, it's not like he went out there and went double platinum on a, We Be Clubbing type record. For a record like All Falls Down to go 2 times platinum, that's impressive. You know what I mean? For anybody. It is.
I'm not trying to take anything away from All
It
Falls
is.
Down. I think it's one of his best records. It's one of the best records for its time. I think it's a hip hop classic. I'm not speaking down on the record. I'm not speaking down on Ye or speaking down on his catalog, really, Mike. I'm just giving like a blunt and honest assessment. This is an MC list. He don't MC on the level that you're talking about on a B-side level as a solo artist to really qualify for this.
What does
and
Tupac?
You don't have the song.
Was Tupac MCing on that quote unquote level? He's just a great song maker and a poet. I think they're very similar in that light. And again, when we look at records like Through the Wire, All Falls Down, and Jesus Walks from a subject matter standpoint, being as successful as they are, Pac is the only person we can go to.
What about them B-sides, though? Where's his No More Pain?
I'm going to get to the B-sides. I'm just on the A side right now.
But the B-sides say featuring.
They don't.
And Mike, I swear to God, if you name some mid songs, I'm gonna tell you to toss that shit out because I see what you're about to do. You're not about to take these mid-level exception Kanye songs and make them seem like they're classic hip hop records.
We're like an hour something in. I hadn't even got past Can't Tell Me Nothing. Let me get past this real quick. Can't Tell Me Nothing, 4 times platinum, right?
I love Can't Tell Me Nothing.
Stronger, 10 times platinum. But again, that's him being able to show his
Stronger's
versatility.
not dope.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a mid. You can keep that.
Good Life, 5 times platinum.
You can keep that too. That ain't good
Really?
It's not good. That
All
shit
these are
nobody play no Good Life, Mike. That was the definition of a song that came out that year, that got made that year, that disappeared that year. It's not a good record.
Okay.
It's not one of his 20 best songs by any means.
Flashing Lights, 5 times platinum.
That's that lit.
Homecoming, 2 times platinum.
I ain't never heard Mike say numbers till today, y'all. It's very fascinating.
No, I mean, I think that when you got somebody who has a
No, you ain't never brought up numbers to make an argument, but you making numbers on an MC list argument. It just don't sound right, Mike.
Well, this is what I want to do.
Because it's an MC list, not a numbers list.
I understand that, but again,
because the guy at the top of the list, we don't bring up his numbers because we all know what time it is with the MC.
But see, this is again.
You got to bring up Ye's numbers to put him in this conversation.
You're not gonna let me finish. This ain't about the numbers per se. This is about the fact that you were saying that this guy's heavy collaborative, and all of these records that are solo shots were hit records.
But they're not classics, Mike. Stronger ain't no classic.
What? Stronger?
Hold on. Stronger or A Million and One Rhyme No More. You feel what I'm saying? Fuck some Stronger when you put it up next to some rap shit.
Again, I would have to put those records up
on that
against.
highest level, Mike. The records don't register on some rap shit on the highest level.
You're trying to
talk about all this je ne sais quoi and song and album making.
I'm gonna get to that.
That nigga can't rap like these niggas.
I'm gonna get to that. We had to start at the singles, right? And so Power, 4 times platinum. All of the Lights, 5 times. Now, let me go to the other side, right? Let me go to Jay real quick. Dead Presidents was gold. Can I Get Her was a platinum record. Ja Rule, a mill. Help, right? Hard Knock Life, platinum. You got Money Cash Hoes, it's DMX. Jigga What Jigga Who, you got Jazz and Emil. Do It Again, we got Beanie Siegel. Big Pimpin'. None of those charted, by the way. Big Pimpin', UGK, platinum, right? Hey Poppy, that didn't actually chart either, but got Memphis Bleak and Emil. I'm just going down the singles. Give It To Me, gold record. I was surprised by that. I thought he did more. But, you got Pharrell and all that on that, but, solo shot. Change the Game was another single. Memphis Bleak, Beanie Siegel. Izzo, there we go, solo shot, that's gold. Girls, 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 Song Cry. Love that Secession. I love when he's by himself. Then you got Bonnie and Clyde, gold. Excuse Me Miss, gold. Change Clothes, that didn't register. Dirt Off Your Shoulders, 2 times platinum. Now, I think that's Jay's solo shot right there. With the hook, everything in there. But 99 Problems, 2 times platinum. Another great solo shot by Jay. Then you got Show Me What You Got when he came back. Gold. Run This Town, featuring Kanye, 2 times. Empire State of Mind, featuring Alicia Keys, 3 times. Forever Young, Gold. Rock Boys, no certification. And DOA, no certification. So I think that when we look at it from that standpoint, and here's the Watch the Throne stuff. Niggas in Paris, 9 times platinum.
Can I say something?
3 times.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
The difference. See, this is what I'm saying. You're making my point for me. You're smiling. You're not making any points because here's the reality
No,
of
I'm
the
just
matter.
going through the list.
No. If you take those Kanye songs that you named away, he doesn't even make a top 50 list. But if you take those Jay-Z songs away, he's still a top 10 MC, Mike. You can literally take all of those J records that you named away. Yes, all those J records that you just named, you could take them away and I can provide you evidence that he's still a top 10 MC. And so since you want to bring up numbers in these singles, let's take all of these songs away and let's see who's really who and what is what. Because you don't have any argument after that. Away. You could literally strip all of this away from Jay right now and he would still have heat, plenty of heat.
I think
you're talking about Dirt Off Your Shoulders.
We can take all of these. Hold on,
you talking about Dirt Off Your Shoulders and what 99 Problems? No. See, that's why I keep on trying to tell you no. But he makes stuff like Threat and Allure too. You feel what I'm saying? So he don't have to rely on 99 Problems and Dirt Off Your Shoulders. The nigga that's
so you think Kanye has to rely on the records that I mentioned?
Mike, I just told you. Let's wipe those records away right now and let's have an MC conversation. See, you just brought up all the singles and all the hits and all the certifications, and that's fine and dandy. But now let's get on some rap. Let's get on some rap shit, Mike. So throw all them singles out and let's go. And I'm going to show you how he doesn't register on this top 10 with any of these guys.
Let me get to the super chats real quick, and we'll get into it.
We don't got none of this shit that these other niggas got outside of these singles.
Celeste with the super chat says, to be fair, if you go to ASCAP right now, Shay Smith, Ron Fest, is listed as a writer on Jesus Walks. Now we can speculate how involved he was. But his name is credited. Yes, his name was credited because he had something to do with the hook. They made the song together. But as far as this whole writing his bars, that's not true. I mean, it is what it is. I think that when you look at Give It To Me, Pharrell is credited because he's on the hook. He wrote the hook. We can't just pick and choose when we want to do that.
Hold on. So a couple things. First of all, I want to talk about, before we even do this, because we're going to do something else right quick. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I keep bringing it up, Mike, because I think it's the classic that all Kanye fans can agree on. I think the new fans, or the newer generation of fans, feel like it's a classic. Those of us that came up on College Dropout and Late Registration, no, we are in agreement. That's his classic that we can agree upon. I just would like to read the writing credits out to you from that right quick, Mike, if we may. Let's start with track 1 that you think is one of the best songs on there, Dark Fantasy. Let's go down the list of writers. Well, there's Kanye West, but then there's Robert Diggs, Ernest Wilson, Jeff Bashir, Mike Dean, Malik Jones, Justin Vernon, Anika Mirage, John F. Anderson, Mike Oldfield. Mike, literally 9 writers on that track. Gorgeous, Kanye West, Mike Deans, Chase Smith, Corey Woods, Scott Muschetti, Gene Clark, Roger McGuinn. 6 writers. Mike Power, Kanye West, Larry Griffin, Mike Dean, the Bashir guy, Andwelli, Gardner, Ken Lewis, Francois, Bernheim, John Pierre, Lang, Boris Bergman, Robert Fripp. I'm still on Power, Mike. I'm still on one song with all the writers. Michael Giles, Greg Lake, Ian McDonald, Peter Seinfeld. You still think he don't got writers, Mike? You asked where the writers were. I'm going to tell you where the writers are. All of the Lights says Kanye West and Mike Dean, and that's it. Then we get back to Monster. Guess what? Kanye West, Sean Carter, Nicki Minaj, Mike Dean, William Roberts, Mirage, Vernon, Mike. No, he got writers everywhere for all types of things. He's a producer. It's okay. And My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy literally is littered with multiple writers on every song, every single song except for All of the Lights.
So, Coop, you think that somebody wrote his rhymes?
I think when you are a producer of his caliber and stature, the same way Dr. Dre is, and what we're finding out about Dr. Dre as time goes on, you always have help and people throwing you stuff and skeleton stuff sitting around. Absolutely. You don't make it to that level and become that level of producer, and MCs don't bring their A game without providing you some of it. Like, come on, Mike.
So you
Like,
don't
come
think
on, you're
that
not
those
keeping it funky,
so you don't
man.
think those writers' credits come from samples? They come
I
from
think they come from a
instrumentalists.
variety of places, including Help the Man MC. I think they come from samples. I think they come from actual sessions. I think they come from chords. I think they come from keys. I think they come from hooks. I think they come from bars, because I think Kanye, listen to what I'm saying. I think Kanye has given people so much and not gotten credit. He would never not give people credit, which is why there are so many writers. So if you want to give him credit for being honest, Mike, and being fair with people, oh, fuck yeah, he number one if that's the case, Mike.
Because what we're doing,
the reality of the matter is
you're right.
he gets a lot of help. That's all I'm saying, Mike.
And I'm glad you said that. And I'm glad you said that, because what it is we're not giving, I mean, we're propelling people who don't give others credit. We've heard the stories about MCs who've been signed to said label who go out there and have to spit a rhyme in a day, and then they go back later and hear their shit on somebody else's stuff. We've heard those things, right? And those people didn't get credited. You know what I mean? And so if Kanye's, if we're gonna hold it against Kanye that everybody that walks in the door and contributes to a record, no matter how small or how big, he gives them props, fine. But we know at the end of the day, that end product, when this man's name is on it, it's what it is. I'll say this. I don't think that those credits come from somebody sitting there writing his bars.
No.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or sending him over a reference track like Big did Kim. Or, you know what I mean?
Here's how I look at it. Can I tell you how I look at it?
Mm-hmm.
He's the maestro in these sessions, and he's a brilliant maestro. Of course, the artists sitting around are tossing him stuff. Of course, it's part of the process. I'm not knocking the hustle necessarily, Mike, but here's what I'm saying, and maybe we can kind of meet in the middle somewhere on this. You can't tell me that has an MC, has a soloist, that his contributions are greater. Like, how about this? I think sometimes an impact is on here, and so are the songs, and it overrides a lot of things. And this is what I mean. No, I can see 10 to 20, but I don't see it overriding KRS-One, Ice Cube, Snoop, and LL. And if you wanted to put him at 11, I'm okay with it. But when I think about who KRS-One is as an MC and a songmaker by himself so many times, Mike, within the framework of a group where he was really just the solo MC anyway, because Scott LaRock was the producer, and then all his solo material, which is truly some solo material, like KRS-One rarely makes an album that has more than 2 features on it. And it's been that way since, like, Mike, since you and me was learning how to pretty much like talk and conjugate verbs and sentences. You know what I'm saying? And so when I think about those things, I can't put Kanye over the guy who I know wrote South Bronx and poetry, and my 9mm goes bang. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I pull more of a flag, not even about the ghostwriting, but about the fact that the other guys who were up there with him don't have that help and have the solo songs that are so classic to go with it. Even for whatever you may feel about How the World Is Yours certified, Kanye is yet to have a mic performance like that, 3 verses on a mic, and the same with Dead Presidents. And so what I'm saying is he deserves some of the credit that you're talking about. I think the truth is somewhere more in the middle, and about the truth being somewhere in the middle, I'm comfortable with sliding him to 11. But when I see Kanye ahead of KRS-One, as a hip-hop fan, it just don't make me feel right inside.
I understand that. And, you know, that used to be one of my hang-ups with Kanye, too, is the fact that me as an MC, I was looking at it like, this guy doesn't have the elite MC skills of some of the people who I think are the best. So it was difficult for me to get him out of that, you know, being a producer thing, because he did a lot of unorthodox stuff. Like we said, like the wittiness, the light-skinned friend looked like Michael Jackson, dark-skinned friend looked like Michael Jackson, like the corny lines that actually work. He's such a tough person to rate in that sense. And you're right, though, like, to say that he's a better MC than KRS-One, no one could say that. You know?
Well, I don't think he's a better MC than a lot of these guys, but he checks enough boxes that I think when you get to Scarface, and I kind of want to talk about him, and we may not have time today. Well, Kanye's impact in classic albums and song making and all those things. See, how about this? Against somebody like Scarface, Mike, that's where all that hit making really works. And that's why I'm telling you, it's like, oh, well, when I look at Kanye's impact, and then I look at those hits, and he's one of the few guys that has the type of catalog. It's like, no. You make shit on the level that Face makes shit with consistency in your prime. No, that's more conversational. But it's like putting him over LL and Snoop and Ice Cube and KRS, it hurts a little bit. It's like, hold on. It's like, no. I love Fam. He ain't never had it like that, though.
I think that's another thing, too, man.
He can't write a straight out of Compton verse like Ice Cube can. You know what I'm saying? He can't write that verse.
I think we got to ask another generation, too, that, you know, where Kanye hit in their formative years. I think that's important.
I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is it. See, we were grown when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, but I think it hit a lot of people in their formative years, and I think that's why we all meet in the, like, no matter how we feel about his catalog, we all agree that that's a classic, right?
I think, yeah. And I think for the ASAP Rocky generation, I would say, people in that age bracket, Graduation was a game changer for them, you know? I mean, I hear them speak in length about that album. LP with the super chat says, Ye is not credited as a writer on Through the Wire. Now let's be real, guys. I know there's a lot of sample clearances and a lot of things to go on politically, and, you know, Through the Fire is a big record to sample for your first single. Now, do you think that he let somebody else write a song for him about him getting into a car crash and have his mouth wired shut? Let's just be honest here. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these topics are too personal for anybody else to be able to write for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have no, how listen to Through the Wire, and how in the world would he have, that's literally like Tupac having somebody write Dear Mama for him. Like, it's too personal of a topic for anybody to be able to pull off.
See, this is what I'm saying about having help. So, you know, okay, so Ye might have been writing that bar, you know, I have a something for dessert. Like, an MC that's an MC will tell him, be like, hey, use this word or freak it like that. That's what I mean when I'm saying he has help. I don't mean like Ye got somebody sitting down that's like,
penning his shit.
Ye, say this. Because I believe Ye is such he's such a creative genius that I really believe during these sessions, the contributions are flowing.
And think about it though, Coop,
something out. Like, you know, Mike, you've been in the Yo before. You know how niggas hear some shit that they like and start ciphering and be like, oh, keep that. And be like, no, fam, you keep that bar. You can say that. He's the producer. MCs get producers bars all the time. No, nigga, you can take my bars.
But no.
I got plenty. I'm an MC.
But no, producers give MCs bars all the time too. And imagine any of those people who might have been helping him out, how much he's helped them on stuff. And that's why I mentioned Lucifer.
People need to understand how.
That's why I mentioned Lucifer.
Well, this is how, I'm glad you brought up Lucifer. This is what I mean about how the Yo really worked. Well, you know, let's go to Pastor Cavassier.
Yeah.
Pharrell gave Busta a couple bars to start off Pastor Cavassier. Producers are great at giving you hooks and lead-ins. It's part of why they're there. They know the beat well. They're telling you how to freak it to come in. You might be saying it like this. They'd be like, no, say this like that. That's what I meant when I made the beat. The MC is listening to the producer tell them, say this like this because I heard the beat like this. You know what that makes the MC do? Say that shit.
Listen, I'm not totally confident that Kanye didn't help Luda at the beginning of Stand Up, now that you say that. How you ain't gonna cut? Girl, I'm me. I'm the reason you a goddamn VIP. That don't sound like some Kanye shit?
Right. Kanye might have been like, hey, how they sound?
Yeah.
Luda might have been like, oh shit, that was hot. You'd be like, no, you can take that, use that. That'd be the lead into the song.
But see, we never throw that on the MC. But when it's somebody like him who does double duty, we look for ways to be like, oh, he gotta have help on this and that. You know what I mean? Like, that's regular stuff.
The help works both ways, but this is what I mean. Kanye is special. He's the first producer to get more credit than the MCs that it's around. Like part of why Death Row became so big was because of the fact that Snoop, Daz, Corrupt, Lady of Rage, RBX, no, they got their credit and due as like MCs. And so you get what I'm saying? It's different when the producer is that big, Mike. It's different. And so in a lot of ways, what I'm trying to tell you, he's a victim of a lot of his own success and his own charisma. and his own personality as a producer. The nigga got MC tendencies. Like, he's a producer with MC charisma and arrogance.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned Death Row.
So he's deadly.
I'm glad you mentioned Death Row. We always talk about Snoop and him being the author of The Chronic.
No, I've been playing Death Row music lately. Death Row shit is
DLC too. I gotta mention DLC because he did some writing on The Chronic as well.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, and this is what I always expect when it comes to people who say they wrote records for certain people. Snoop could sit there and say, I wrote The Chronic. But you know what? Fuck that. Doggy Style coming in 93. Now we understand that he wrote The Chronic. And we'll give him that credit. Now, if he never made that, I'd be like, well, nigga, where's your Chronic?
No, we got evidence.
Exactly.
No, we got evidence.
Exactly.
Wrote The Chronic. It's called Doggy Style.
Exactly. Mad Max in the super chat says, stop with the Biggie hits. Hypnotized me and Big Papa was trash, to be honest. We love Big's B-sides more than we do his hits outside of Juicy. And One More Chance. Okay?
That's not true. That's not true.
36 Chambers says, Michael, if Ye is really a top 10 MC, why isn't he an established, why isn't it that established in social norms? Big, J, Pac, Nas, Rakim. Everyone knows these as top 10 legends, undisputed. No one talks about Ye in those circles. I think younger people do. I don't know what age bracket you are, 36, but ask some younger people.
But that's why I was saying I'm comfortable with putting him at 11.
Because Wayne is in those conversations if you ask people of a certain age as well, you know?
Wayne's a motherfucking MC, Mike. Even with some of the ghostwriting shit hovering over him, he's an MC.
DJ
Even
Bruce
with Carter
Almighty.
one shit, no. He wrote the Carter too.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, Mike, we would never know Quentin Miller wrote for Drake is the songs weren't leaked, and Drake sounds way better than Quentin.
He does.
Well, this is the thing though. The people that you guys are saying that wrote for Kanye, we've actually heard them rap though. Yes, we would have never heard of Quentin Miller because it's not like Drake featured him on anything. We hear Consequence and Kanye rap with each other all the time.
Did he have a reason to feature him, though? Like, artistically speaking, that's what I mean. Most of these people, this is what I mean about how Ye is special, and not even like to the Drake situation. No, it's very, very rare that an MC can hand a producer their bars, and the bars are probably going to come out better. That's almost never happens. When you hear, how about this? We know Snoop wrote Nothing But a G Thing, but he sounds so much better than Dr. Dre on that record, even though he wrote Dr. Dre's part.
I think what's so different about Kanye
it's the inverse with Ye.
And I don't like Kanye being compared to Dre because I think from a subject matter standpoint, Kanye's a lot more like RZA. Like you can hear RZA's mentality in his lyrics, and you know ain't nobody wrote that for him. That's how RZA talks. Like you can actually hear RZA talking in his raps. Same thing with Kanye. The stuff that he says is the stuff that he does in interviews. Like, he explains his music way more than Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can sit there and talk to you about his lyrics, and he will do that. I don't believe somebody wrote that for him. Now, with Dr. Dre, yeah, his stuff is so blatant and, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but it's so generalized that anybody could write that for anybody. Like you could pass over Dre's verse that was on Three Kings to any rapper, right? But Kanye's stuff is so Kanye specific. It's hard for me to say anybody's writing his shit, at least his best shit. It lines up with his persona, his personality, his mindset, and
so this is what I mean.
Go ahead.
His best shit as a solo artist, even though it's really, really great, Mike, it's not top 10. And the all-time greatness is tied a lot to his album-making ability, which is more reliant on his production side, and the help that he gets from top-notch MCs. Like, I bring up So Appalled so much because it's like, listen to that record, Mike.
It's a great record. We're about to go through his catalog real quick. Let me
Tell,
get through
tell
these
me,
super
tell me
chats.
that he can make that a song like that by himself because everybody else on the top 10 can, and that's why he doesn't belong in the top 10 to me.
I don't think it's fair to compare a posse cut to somebody's individual
No,
stuff.
I mean just like that lyrical song where you're like, man, did you hear that right there? This mother when he rhyming like
I feel you, but I think that's kind of unfair again because we don't put those kind of standards
it's
on.
an MC list.
Again, we don't put those kind of standards on Tupac or Scarface or even Ice Cube. We're not
They're
waiting
better
for
song
them
makers
to
than
get
Kanye,
on.
Mike.
We're not waiting on them to get on the record and spaz out. It's more about their perspectives as
So
MCs. At
let's
least for
go
me.
get this. Let's get this clear right now. And this is what I'm saying about the production side influencing you and people's thinking so much. Oh, Kanye not on Scarface or Tupac's level as a song maker to me. Not as no MC. No. That's what I'm saying. Like the producer side of him that has a team full of people in the room. Like he cannot walk into a room by himself and produce a Never Seen a Man Die. He cannot get up with an Ice Cube and do a Hand of the Dead Body just like by himself. No, he cannot. He cannot make I Get Around and Keep Your Head Up on the same album and have them register with you on that level as a hit. As an MC, no, he is not that. No, he is not that. That's what I'm saying. He's the next thing, but he's not that. He's not Face or Pac as a songwriter. Let's not get that confused.
I say this.
Those niggas got so many solo records by themselves, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Without help.
I say this respectfully. I think you're viewing that from a generational aspect.
No, I'm viewing it from a catalog standpoint of the actual songs that have been made, Mike.
You're biased to the records that came out in your primitive years. I mean, I think somebody who came around the time when Kanye was making these records would definitely refute that, and they would have the evidence to refute that with. Let me get through these super chats because I think I'm super.
What are the features on Me Against the World?
Huh?
What are the features on Me Against the World?
I'm gonna get to all of that. Let me.
You don't have no classic album like that. Diary, one feature. Well, he can't do that. He can't do that.
He
don't
got
you understand? All his classics have at least.
Graduation has one feature.
Graduation has what?
It has one feature.
And it's not a classic. That's my whole point.
Oh, it's not a classic. Okay.
No, it's not.
Coop. Let me
you
get through these.
You're playing Barry Bonds. Can't tell me nothing.
Coop.
You're playing Good Life.
Coop. Let me get through these super chats because I think I'm really backed up. DeCarlo with the super chat says, so does Tupac get moved down as well because his hits are the only reason that he's high also. Jay said that he and Ye were Michael and Prince, Coop. I think that's a pretty good assessment from Jay, actually.
No, it's not.
I can see the correlation. LP with the super chat says Q-Tip is a better MC than Ye, and it's not close, in my opinion. I love Q-Tip. Q-Tip's my favorite hip-hop artist, but I just don't have enough individual Q-Tip evidence to actually make a real assessment like that. Q-Tip doesn't have a Hey Mama in his catalog. He doesn't have a Power. He doesn't have a Can't Tell Me Nothing as an individual. Like, he just doesn't. Mad Max in the super chat
says, top 10 worthy. Those songs that you name are almost worthy of him being in the top 10, but that's not top 10 worthy if those are his best solo shots.
I mean, I was just naming stuff off the top of my head.
No, you were naming his best solo records, Mike, and you know it. You were not naming stuff off the top of your head.
I was. This is just songs that just
What are his best solo records, Mike? So you can
I got to get through these super chats. We're going to get into it.
When you get done with the super chats, Mike, I want you to name Kanye's best solo records.
We're going to get to all of that. Let's let the people speak real quick. Mad Max says, now Coop, stop. Power is definitely the best song on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'm not mad at that, Mad Max. I think it could be. If that's where we're at in the super chats, I'm really backed up. Hold on. 36 Chambers says, I don't think it's fair to ask if Pac's MC is an MC like that. Of course he does. Content, lyrical ability, voice, etc. Not even a conversation, Mike, respectfully. Jay Short with the super chat says, I'm a Coop. Monster and So Appalled are the best songs of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. When Ye announced the album, we go straight to the features. We don't care who raps with Jay. We just talk about who's going to produce it. I'm glad you said that last part because honestly, that's one thing that we don't have to worry about with Kanye. So
and you're being influenced by that. This is not about production. This is about the MC. You got to take the producer side of him out of it, Mike, and you refuse to.
Mad Max with the super chat says, "Not one man can have all. No one man can have all that power. You're lying if you say Power is not the best song on there. Now that song gets more run than any record on there. Let's see.
Paul or Monster or Devil in a Blue Dress.
Mad Max says, and Mike, play Saint Pablo on The Life of Pablo versus Coop in your battle on Patreon because Ye killed that. Saint Pablo is hard. You're right. Now, if we want to talk about straight up bars,
I will obliterate that song.
Saint Pablo is crazy. Now that's him on a solo mission.
It's not even fucking with Jay's best stuff. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There are levels to this, and that Saint Pablo shit. If you play that against Jay-Z's 20 best records, watch me wax that ass. That's what I'm talking about with his catalog. Y'all talking about some Saint Pablo? Really?
36 Chambers says,
really?
Mike, you are listing everything that makes Ye a top musical artist, top producer, top cultural influence. Is he a top MC though? Outlier on the list. DeCarlo with the super chat says, take away Tupac's hits and he don't even make a top 50. Stop it, Coop. Woo!
We're gonna have to cut his water off. Cut his water off. We might have to block him.
Take away Coop. Let's take away Pac's hits. DeCarlo also says, Coop, by that logic, 3,000 and Eminem need to be over Kanye, but we know that's not gonna happen. I guess he's talking about the bar technical aspect.
Well, Andre don't have no damn solo catalog, so he don't belong in this conversation, and Eminem doesn't have enough great records, so he's not in this conversation either.
Jay Short with the super chat says, only similarity between Prince and Ye is the non-disclosure agreements are flawless, except Prince NDAs protect his music. Ye's protect his pride. This is a great conversation today. Eric Terrell says, Coop, Ye's first 5 albums are classics. Can Jay say the same or other MCs on that list? Stop hating. The guy is a hip-hop legendary MC.
He did not make 5 classics out the gate, Mike, and you know that's not true.
I think it might be true. Marquez
Name
Davis.
the albums again.
No, we're going to get to his albums real quick. Marquez Davis says, we're going to stop with the big disrespect. Most versatile MC of all time.
See, this is what I'm saying. See, people putting Ye up high, but people are also pulling up in here and trying to slide Big and Pac down. Now, Mike, you was there, and you've lived through Big and Pac, and you've lived through Kanye. Don't kick that shit, Mike. Don't kick that shit. This nigga don't have any record. When you talk about Hey Mama, why ain't Hey Mama a single like Dear Mama? Because he not on Tupac level. You know this. But you have him next to him. No, not as an MC. He's not a writer like that. He's not an MC like that. Now, is he a great song maker and album maker like that? Yes.
Let me ask you something.
Is his impact like that? Yes. Do he MC like this? No. How about this? Take Tupac off Got Your Mind Made Up and put Kanye in. How do you think he gonna perform?
Let me ask you this, Coop, and that's a good question.
What you think?
And an overall artist, if we had like an overall just artist, like top 5 or whatever, where does Kanye chart to you as an overall hip hop artist? Is he number 1, number 2, number 3, or no?
Because of his production and MC artist skills and creativity, he would register number 1 on that list, Mike. He would be the best overall artist because everything that he's bringing. How about this? No producer operates at the MC level as he does, so that would make him number 1 on that list.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yes, that's all I'm saying, because he's a top 3 to 5. How about this? He's top 10 and all that. He's a top 10 artist. He's a top 10 producer.
He's very LeBron James-ish.
And has but that's what I keep trying. So how about this? LeBron James is about to become the NBA's all-time leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody that watched Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or Kevin Durant play thinks that LeBron James is a better scorer of the basketball. The same rules apply here. Right. Oh, no, you can have all these records and all these plaques. That'll make you the best scorer. We know what we saw. Yeah. Kevin Durant shooting 57% from the floor right now. He doesn't go to the hole, Mike. He's leading the NBA in free throw shooting. It's like, no, he's a better scorer of the basketball on every single level than LeBron. LeBron's the all-time leading scorer. And both things can be true. And Ye can be who he is and not be top 10 on this list. I just don't think this is a list where he belongs on the top 10 because he belongs top 10 on so many other lists. Producer list,
that's
yes.
Fair.
Artist list, easy. Think about this, Mike. He's the only person that arguably might be a top 3 producer and artist. He's the only person like that.
Special.
So he's special. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but what you are doing, and this is not intentional, well, you're downgrading a lot of these guys' MC contributions by putting Kanye up here too. And that's why I'm being more mindful of it, because no, that knock shit, when you put Ye up there, no, that knock shit like the Evils and My Philosophy and Never Seen a Man die down by a notch. And it kind of lets the new generation totally take over. And there needs to be some motherfucking balance.
I wanted to try to add some balance to the conversation. So, yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. Thumbs up in the chat, though, man, because we're going to get to this album part of the conversation. I think I'm almost done with these super chats. DFW Herbie with the super chat says, only one rapper who teaches lyricism at MIT, and his name is Lupe. His body of work, skill, and respect garners top 10 status. Man, right before the show, man, I spoke to Mickey.
We were just getting somewhere.
I was talking to Mickey, man. He's talking about some courses and all the great stuff he's doing with the school, man. I'm looking forward to.
Are we still pulling up and doing some stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Getting everything together. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, I'm 30 and Kanye was that guy during my primitive music and isn't touching pop. That's cap. They're not even close. Pop is elite. All right, I see that, 36. And I appreciate our under 30 crowd, chiming in on this too, because
it's necessary. Insightful. They need to be the main ones chiming in, because I don't ever want it to be to get off of my lawn-ish, but there are some boundaries and some standards in place. It's like, oh no, you do need to like make a Me Against the World type of album by yourself.
Yeah.
An Illmatic, a reasonable, like, no, these guys, and most of these guys that are up there, Mike, they have like at least 2 projects, whereas MCs, you're just like, oh, well, you know.
I just try to make sure that I'm just not so stuck in the stuff that affected me, because again, I'm cool with the fact that I'm probably never going to hear a hip hop album again, a new hip hop album that made me feel like I felt when I heard Incarcerated Scarfaces. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with that, but I just don't want to eliminate the possibility that somebody younger may hear an album that feels like the Purple Tape to them when I heard the Purple Tape. You know what I mean?
No, I understand that. And this is what I mean about putting Kanye. And I know, how about this? Like, for me, Scarface is forever top 10. And I don't think on any sort of level, because how about this? Outside of impact, I don't think that there's one thing that Kanye is better at than Scarface. And Scarface is at 11 right now. And that's what I mean about Kanye.
You don't think he's a better song maker? No?
Hold on. No. Let's just go to the criteria right quick and kind of like really kind of look at like the criteria again, like briefly.
Okay.
And the criteria was, hold on, I got it written down again. It was impact, live performance, lyrics and / storytelling, classic album / classic songs, longevity of albums / longevity of songs, classic collaborations, career longevity, and voice. If we put Kanye next to Scarface, just being fair, I think Scarface takes 5 of these, and Kanye takes 4 of these.
Okay.
Impact is Kanye. Live performance, Kanye, right?
I think so.
I think lyrics and storytelling, even though that's one category that belongs to Face.
Yeah.
Now, the classic albums belong to Face still. What say you about that? Even though I would give Ye the classic songs even over Face, because I'm not going to be too old school and too much of a head and act like Kanye hasn't done volumes of material that's considered to be classic in the way that Face has.
I think what's interesting in that part of the conversation is, a lot of the Kanye albums that you don't consider classic, there's a large volume of people who do. So
well, how about this? I think...
Yeah.
And okay, so how about this?
And he's one of the few artists we could say that about, because for most people, everybody's on the same page with that. But when it comes to Kanye, it's like there are people who think 808s and Heartbreaks is a classic, and you would never say it's a classic.
It's not, but here's what I will tell you.
And you just said Graduation wasn't a classic.
But here's what I'll tell you. How about this? I look at Graduation very much like I look at Last of the Dying Breed or Untouchable by Scarface. Those albums. Oh, I know niggas that swear up and down that those albums are classic, even though I don't agree. But it's one of those things that exists in the lexicon is that, well, he's so consistent and so consistently great that there are people walking around that feel like that this album is a classic too. And what I would submit to you is that much like Kanye has 3 albums that I think are certified classics. That would be College Dropout, Late Registration, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's made another 3 out of 4 other projects that are comparable. And if you told me to people, not even to me, and if you told me that he made 5 classics, I would tell you, okay. But what I would tell you in turn is that please give this nigga Scarface the same energy about The Diary, Last of a Dying Breed, Mr. Scarface is Back, The Untouchable, Made, Emeritus, The Fix, My Homies. You feel what I'm saying? Oh no, he done made a lot of stuff that a lot of niggas feel like is classic. Like he got like 6, 7, 8 albums like that. And so when you're pulling up Kanye's 5 classics, it's like, oh no, even against Face, do you know what Face catalog really looked like? Like, because for whatever you think about Kanye catalog, as a solo artist, I want you to understand, all of these albums have very little features, Mike, and they're great. I'm going to say them again. I didn't even bring up Deeply Rooted, which was 2015. That was the last great album he made to me.
I think that was the last album he made.
Might have been.
Yeah.
I thought it was the second best rap album after To Pimp a Butterfly that year. That's really what I thought. That's how dope that record is. Deeply Rooted, The Diary, Last of a Dying Breed, Mr. Scarface is Back, Untouchable, Emeritus, The World Is Yours, Made, The Fix, My Homies. Mike, did I name an album that's not dope as fuck?
I mean, there are levels to them, but yeah. I mean, I think his consistency is just...
And much like Kanye, 3 undisputed classics, because when you say Mr. Scarface is Back, The Diary, and The Fix,
yeah, those are the
ones. A lot of stuff sitting around, and who's been around and doing this shit longer, because unlike Kanye, he got that classic Ghetto Boy shit too. So even though Kanye would beat most people in a catalog conversation, you're not beating Scarface in a catalog conversation. That's where I start drawing certain lines, Mike, because this man has made too many great solo songs by himself, literally since we were kids.
I think you're discounting the classic nature in the moment of Graduation, because even though, in my personal opinion, it's his 4th best album, people swear by that album, and
but that's what I'm saying. Like, people swear by
changer.
Last of a Dying Breed and Untouchable too. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we just heard Mos Def, Yasin Bey, nerd out about Graduation, sitting right across from a man who clearly hates Kanye West's guts.
Y'all seem to be a little disrespectful to his teammates.
DeCarlo with the super chat says, oh shoot, I hit the wrong one. DeCarlo says, Coop, the fact that you just said that Graduation ain't no classic shows that you're living in a different era.
No, it's not a classic. No, that's not true. You see, this is what I'm saying, DeCarlo. No, I'm not about to let you pull up and do that, because I don't think Graduation is a classic, but I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is. So that makes everything that you just said null and void. I do think it's his 4th best album. I'm just funny. I'm super stringent about what I call classics. Mike, I just got done saying, see, people try to frame the argument. No, I just got done saying, I don't think The Last of Dying Breed or Untouchable is a classic. But I know niggas who do.
There's a lot of people that think Graduation's a classic, though.
No, there's a lot of people that I know that think The Last of Dying Breed and Untouchable is a classic, too. And that's fine. I'm telling you, for me and for my standards, they both have 3. Listen to what I said. The key words are the key words. I said undisputed classics. They both got 3.
I think, in my personal opinion, if you want to talk about undisputed, where it's like, you know,
and Scarface still has a better catalog, even if you're giving him one more classic.
No, I would say universally, again, I would say Kanye has 4. Really, okay. and I hate to say this because this is the one that's closest to me. The one out of those 4 albums that people put at the bottom consistently is College Dropout. People rate Graduation higher than College Dropout. I disagree, but people think very highly of Graduation.
Can I tell you the truth? Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
I got College Dropout at 3rd. I think Late Registration and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are better. And so it's 3rd on my list too, Mike. It's not the indisputed classic that we thought it was when it first dropped. I think Late Registration and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are better. And for people that feel like Graduation is just not my thing. No. I want to hear All Falls Down. I don't want to hear Stronger. You feel me?
Yeah.
them two different yays. That's what I mean. It's like, and that's fine if you feel that way about that guy. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this nigga Scarface, well, he been making classic, the borderline classic shit like consecutively before Ye, longer than Ye, with Ye. And so, even with that being said, that still goes to Scarface. That's what I'm saying. And for whatever you want to say, Kanye didn't write My Mind Playing Tricks on You. Still the best record between the two catalogs. Still the best record between the two catalogs is Scarface's record. Because he wrote My Mind Playing Tricks on You, right?
One of the best.
Never Seen a Man Die is still better than everything Kanye ever did. So he got two whole records, like for the hit maker that Kanye is. He don't have no My Mind Playing Tricks on Me and Never Seen a Man Die now, do he?
We'll go through the catalogs. Let me get finished with these super chats. Chris White with the super chat says, Ye's first 5 albums are not classic. Let's see. We got Chris White says, Ye and Wayne are overrated, and I've had to deal with my friends talking nonsense since college. Vent, my brother. This is the platform to do so. We're all venting today. DeCarlo, he says, I'm 30, and I'm telling you that Kanye is top 10 and that Tupac should rank higher than Rakim. Can't wait for that versus. Are we doing that Monday? I would love to.
Yeah, we can do that Monday.
I felt so outmatched, and I say this respectfully, with the Wu-Tang and Dungeon. And I say that with love. You know,
Hold on. Soulmatic just made a very good point. I think part of the reason why Face isn't resonating is something that Soulmatic just said. There is no Scarface. There's nobody that talks that way that makes those type of records anymore. And so he's one of those guys. This is what I mean about having standards and boundaries. Oh, no. He existed and he lived, though, fam. And so y'all can't take him out the books just because he didn't exist in your generation. We don't do that to Kane or G-Rap or Slick Rick or KRS. Like, we don't do that to... It's like, well, you know,
to that point?
Era. It's like, we don't do that shit. We hold the niggas up high. It's like, no. We hear that shit you made in your era, and it was dope. Kudos to you for being so great so early.
Well, to that point, though, Coop, we could say the same thing for Kanye West. Like, that's what makes him so... That's why we're even having this lengthy of a conversation, because there's nothing to compare him to.
No,
these guys are one-of-ones.
He is a one-of-one, as a one-of-one gets in this hip-hop spirit spectrum.
Yeah.
But, Mike, can I tell you something? This is part of why I wanted to start the year with the MCs list, is that in the elements of hip-hop, the MC has become the most important thing. It need to be cataloged and addressed properly, and addressing him as this level MC, it's not proper. It's really not. He can't write My Mind Playing Tricks on You, Never Seen a Man Die. He just can't. And so when you're putting him ahead of somebody whose catalog is comparable, that can do things as an MC that you can't do when this is an MC list, it looks like you're weighing the production and the star power and the impact more than it should. And so respectfully, I think for everybody involved, I think the best idea is to let time tell. But for now, I think he should be the highest person from the new generation on this list. I respectfully would like to put him at 12 between Scarface and Ghostface.
Okay. Chris White with the super chat.
Well, that would actually that would put him at 11, because that would put Scarface back in the 10.
Okay. Chris White with the super chat says Graduation was mid. I hated that. Period. He said, I hated that, period. DFW Herbie says, Food and Liquor and The Cool are better than The Diary and The Fix, musically and impact-wise. I saw Lupe make The Hood skateboard. LOL. Charles with the super chat says, Pac is highly underrated as an MC and a songwriter. Ye said that he was influenced to do Jesus Walks by Pac's Hail Mary. I can see that. Pac was a monster like King Kong. Ye and monster too, like Chucky. Different levels.
So can I tell you something too, Mike? Just through the discourse of the conversation and discussion. And you made some excellent points, Mike. And I think you know me long enough to know how I am when I get passionate in debate. So like kudos to you for like sticking to your guns and keeping your cool and like doing everything that you usually do through all this. But can I tell you something? That I was really thinking low key the whole time that you were talking? Because I meant what I said earlier about Jay. This whole conversation that you had about Jay-Z and Kanye and how Jay-Z's music is aging and not well had me really thinking about, well, you know, it's so easy for us to go Nas, Jay-Z, Jay-Z, Nas. Is that really what's going on? Because here's what I tell you. Jay's best shit ain't holding up the way Rakim's best shit holding up, or Pac best shit, or Biggie best shit. See, we're getting on the back end of this when he's like he said on Kanye's album, you start off strong, now you wheezing in the back.
Yeah. He said that on Once Again It's
Oh,
On.
no. That's
Once
that's not
Again It's
gay
On.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you were talking the whole time, I couldn't front but going to him and his catalog because to be honest with you, it's easier to penetrate his catalog than a lot of these guys that are up here. And a lot of it is because Kanye has helped him with so much and so many people have helped him with so much. Do you think that it's fair that we still have Jay-Z at number 2 on a list like this? Because I feel like his impact might be carrying him on this because when I go look at his first 3 albums now and how they're holding up, as opposed to how Rakim's first 3 albums are holding up.
Yeah. I think with Jay, it's more of a longevity conversation. I think that, and even with the longevity, it doesn't feel as long anymore, pause, when it comes to, after you saw what Nas just did, right? I think the other thing is, too, when we talk about, help and help with hooks or, we get into semantics.
You don't do hooks.
When we get into semantics,
Kanye doing the hooks for Jay.
Like
you don't give
Rhyme
Kanye
Fest,
some extra points for that.
yeah, like Rhyme Fest actually, possibly writing the hook for Jesus Walks or something like that. And I'm like, well, are we not going to give Ja Rule credit for Can I Get Her? It's clearly his record.
And Can I Get Her is what took Jay above the fray and out the water.
Exactly.
People think that it's Hard Knock Life. No. Hard Knock Life, the album, took off when Can I Get Her dropped.
Yeah, that's the hit.
That's the hit.
That's the hit. And then even when we look at Big Pimpin', you know what I mean? Like, we know that is, Pimp C's cadence, right? Big Pimpin', standing shit. Like, so if we're going to sit here and hold certain people to standards, and that's why I wanted to bring up the hit records, because in these records that were able to be so successful, he didn't need that level of help. You know what I mean?
No, see, here's the thing. It's like, I still think he's better than Ye as an MC and deserves to be much higher than Ye on this list. But what you did when you said all these things, I was like, we don't be saying this about Rakim or Tupac or Biggie shit. That's exactly what I thought when you were saying all those things. And that's why I was like, is Jay the conversation, really? Because here's what I mean.
Jay beat Rakim in a long distance run.
Let's go to their respective third albums, per se. The gentleman at 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em versus Volume 2. One dude is actually becoming more lyrical and more in tune with the beat, and the other guy is actually dumbing it down. Now, I know when we heard Volume 2, we thought it was this all-time great album, but Mike, Volume 2 ain't fucking with Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. And
that's
Follow
a good
the Leader.
Conversation.
No, it's not a conversation. Not a conversation.
Ghetto
actually.
is
That's
crazy.
what I'm saying. It was a conversation in like 2004. No, you can listen to Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em now. Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em has In the Ghetto and Mahogany. And the song Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em in 'Em.
And
those
No
3
Omega.
records right there alone, Mike. Like that shit alone. And then let's see, it's like, hold on, is Volume 1 better than Follow the Leader? It's like, okay, so what's the best records on Volume 1?
No, Volume 1's
Imaginary
not better
Players?
than Follow the Leader. No, it's
Right,
not.
that's what I'm saying.
Right
Like
now.
Paid in Full, Reasonable Doubt. It's like, hold
Paid in
on.
Full's better than
Rakim's
Reasonable Doubt.
first 3 albums that are classics better than Jay's first 3 albums that we call classic. It's like, well, yeah.
Well, this is what Jay did.
Rakim's actually made the bigger records for his time because Eric B. as president is bigger than anything Jay ever made in his time. That was the record from that era, arguably.
That I can't argue, and not to mention the song "Paid in Full" itself.
Can I interest you with Microphone Fiend?
You're right. That's a pretty big one too. This is the thing, though. Jay beat out Rakim, Biggie, and Pac from a longevity standpoint. And I think that's where, the separation is the marathon. As far as the sprint, no. And honestly, for a minute,
because
he
it's
was
like, if we're doing this shit in a vacuum, Mike, I don't know if he's top 5, actually. When you said everything you said about Ye, it's like, he's not top 5 in a vacuum.
Because for a minute, he was kind of beating Nas in that marathon, too. But Nas caught up.
That was Smoke and Mirrors. That was The Hustler, but it's okay. Nostradamus happened. Mike, you understand it's only happened because Nostradamus happened.
I agree.
That's why, people need to understand when I'm criticizing Nostradamus, it's not just a musical critique. It's an Ascension of Jay critique because the Ascension doesn't happen if Nas releases the real I Am, because there's no way that you're about to listen to the real version of I Am and tell people that other dude is that guy as an MC. You weren't about to be able to do that. But after Nostradamus, you could do that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You would do that after Nostradamus. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, yeah. And you got to understand, while Nostradamus is coming out, like the single, Do It Again is playing.
Yeah.
Like, think about Jay's verse on Do It Again and think about Nas's mic performance on Nostradamus. Do you understand how that looked to people?
I agree. I was there. I remember.
I remember, too. I was very upset.
DeCarlo with the super chat
This nigga's over here
says,
rapping his ass off. And who is this nigga from Philly?
DeCarlo with the super chat says, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is not even a hip hop album to its core. So how you got it as a classic and not Graduation? Short with the super chat.
People do understand that Stronger is like a sample of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Okay, well, like that shit not hip hop either.
You sit
up here sampling British punk rockers. It's like,
hold on, is it a sample or did they actually work together on it? I thought they worked together on it.
Did they work?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's actually featuring them. Jay Short with the super chat says, didn't Scarface pave the way for artists like Ye? Talking about mental health and spirituality. Look in my eyes, Diary of a Madman, Smile. Yeah. I think Scarface and Tupac are definitely, I mean, Kanye comes from that tree. From a substance standpoint.
Can I say something right quick?
Mm-hmm.
All those guys, including Scarface, they come from Chuck D tree.
Definitely.
That's Chuck D.
Ice Cube comes from that tree as well.
Correct.
Jay Short with the super chat says, people love Graduation because it officially ended the street era in hip hop. The nerds took over. It was a good thing, and the nerds are still taking over.
Everybody got space on the stage. It's not about if it's nerd or if it's gangster. It's about if it's great.
Yeah. DeCarlo with the super chat says, 808s and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are pop albums. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy has some very strong hip hop moments.
No, that's some rap shit, Mike. Gorgeous is some rap shit, Mike. Like Soul Paul, that's some rap shit. Even Power is some rap shit. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's too much rapping going on.
It does have Lost in the World on it and stuff like that. But yeah.
That's it. That and Blame Game.
Yeah.
The rest of that shit is some rap shit. Even All the Lights, Mike, he rapping.
Mm-hmm. Ohio K with the super chat says, y'all tripping. Graduation was dope. Jay Short says, a lot of Scarface albums are out of print or not on streaming, so the younger fans don't know his material. I didn't realize that.
Better get acquainted. It's Face Mob, fool.
36 Chambers of the super chat says, Ye using Daft Punk samples on Stronger came off corny to me. I love Graduation, but it's not My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Late Registration, or College Dropout. I feel like it's his fourth best album, in my opinion. DJ Bruce Almighty says, can y'all explain to me why Kanye saved Jay-Z, but Nas and Hit Boy are on a run? Kanye never did a whole album, a Jay-Z album, let alone 4.
I think what Mike speaks to when he talks about Kanye uplifting Jay-Z, I think what he really is speaking to is the fact that when people go to Jay's classic work and the work that he's renowned for in modern day times, like Jay is known for the Emcee shit, which is the 96, 97. That's Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1. But the totality of the artist, what Mike has always submitted, starts around the time of the Blueprint, which is the time Kanye obviously is in the fold with Jay. And so when we're speaking about Jay's career from pretty much 2001 up until Watch the Throne, so over a 12-year stretch where Jay is quote unquote, a big hit maker and king, what Mike has always submitted is that, well, a lot of that shit, Ye.
Kanye
and Ye assisted and Ye helped. And there's a lot of evidence to that. Like, both things can be true. Like, Jay can still be a great hit maker, and Ye could have been the backbone behind a lot of this stuff. And Mike, I think one of the more astute observations that you made, and this is not a slight or a shot at Jay, his music has not been the same since Kanye has not been producing it. And that is just a fact of the matter, and we need to address that maybe at some point. I think it's hard to address those points when we come off quote unquote as a Nas channel, and Nas is going on a glorious all-time run. Not even for old dude, just a glorious all-time run, period. But now maybe as it subsides after he does his show at the Garden, we can maybe unpack a little bit further what you were saying, and maybe it'll be taken a little bit differently with us not coming off as a Nas channel, because there is some real credence and evidence to what you were saying.
I mean, we got to look at it, and I can go through it real quick. I mean, Volume 3, even though it had Big Pimpin', a lot of people felt like Volume 3 was a step down from Volume 2, and definitely a step down from some of the street grittier stuff he did.
I don't feel that. 1. Hold on, can we stop right there?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Volume 2 to Volume 3 thing is one of the bigger misconceptions, because I'll tell you what happened really on Volume 3. He's actually rapping better on Volume 3, and the hits are actually at the same level. The production's not as good on Volume 3.
It's not.
He's rapping his ass off on Volume 3. Volume 3 is a better mic performance than Volume 2, and he's taking on more of the rapping. Come and get me.
This is the thing.
So ghetto.
Volume 2, it kind of took on that 1998 sound, but as far as Volume 3, it didn't really have a consistent sound. Like, Timbaland's production was the best overall production on there, if you're not talking about So Ghetto or whatever. But the Dynasty came, and then you had Give It To Me. But then that's when he kind of started playing around with the Rick Rock type production that was coming out of the West Coast or whatever would change the game. But the shining moment, who wasn't even a single, is It Can't Be Light. And that soulful track right there kind of started changing the direction for what we were about to see. And as far as the foundation of the blueprint, that's Kanye West.
So can I tell you something? This is what I mean. People have to understand, like Jay, of all the great MCs, he is probably the most astute and self-aware. And this is what I mean. People have to understand, how does Volume 2 start off?
It starts off with Memphis.
On what?
On Premiere.
You know what niggas said when they did that, right? Now tell me how Volume 3 start off.
Volume 3 starts off So Ghetto.
What's that?
Premiere.
With who?
Huh?
With who?
What?
Ain't no damn Bleak starting off Volume 3, is there?
No.
Jay hears that stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, you let Bleak have the primo track to start off your album. Niggas like, nigga, is you tripping? Yeah. You better. And so Volume 3 starts off with So Ghetto. That's Jay rhyming over primo shit. You mean what I mean? So even people have to understand is that he understood that he actually dumbed it down too much on Volume 2, Mike. See, Volume 3 was actually the opportunity for him to find his balance. He doesn't go searching for Kanye if Volume 3 comes off like it should, production-wise.
Right.
The failure of Volume 3 is production. That nigga's rhyming his ass off on Volume 3, Mike. I'm trying to tell you, I was there because I was working at the record store, and it was my freshman year of college, so I was going back and forth. Oh, Mike, so I was in Greensboro. I was in Charlotte. Oh, a nigga was so heated on the inside as a Nas fan the way they was talking about Jay.
Oh, no,
Jay and Ernie, Do It Again was everywhere. I was listening to Do It Again. I was listening to Nostradamus. I was like, Dope Man was floating around. I was like, no, these niggas is flexing on me. And when I mean niggas is flexing on me because I talk a lot of shit, like, we're going to fuck this nigga up for talking this shit about Nas, knowing this nigga Jay is better. Like, but he had shit like Dope Man floating around.
And his features
he had shit like Snoopy track floating around. Yeah. He had the original version that Is That Your Bitch floating around on top of fucking Do It Again. And this nigga's over here making Nostradamus and You Owe Me. The shit did not look good. Jay was rhyming his ass off on Volume 3. The production is terrible on Volume 3. It's terrible. So and Kanye exists because the production on Volume 3 is terrible.
I do think that, you know, if we want to talk about, again, Kanye being the foundation of the blueprint sonically, you know, him and Bing, you know, and you could tell that those records really struck a chord with where Jay was going to go moving forward. And I even think that even though the Black Album, my personal opinion, is probably the best production album, Jay album, that he basically kind of took the reins of, I'll give him that. Even with that being said, Encore is important. Lucifer's important. Like, Kanye's been important to everything that Jay does that hits hard from a just body of work level since 2001.
He's been important to the hit, album, and song making process.
Yeah, because we see what it's like when he moves away from Kanye and does like Kingdom Come. You know what I mean? And with Kingdom Come, it's like, okay, there's no Kanye really involved. Now, I will give them American Gangster, even though American Gangster doesn't have the the hits like that, I think that it's a very, very dope album, and it's
What
Jay.
Kanye doing there? Kanye help with American Gangster?
Not really. I mean, he on that We in the House, but
No,
that's
no, that's a
mostly.
notch for Jay that American Gangster sounds so dope without Ye.
But it's Puffy and Chauncey and LV, so it's Puff. Puff's a genius.
Take that, take
So
that.
if you don't got Ye, it's Puff, and Puff is Puff. All right. So after that, he needed the hits. So who do we go to? Kanye takes on the reins of Blueprint 3. Kanye is the executive producer of the Blueprint 3. You know how great you
You can
gotta be
tell
for at this point in Jay-Z's career for him to give you executive producing credit? You doing a lot of work.
he didn't have a choice.
You're doing a lot of work.
He didn't have a choice.
And then you get Watch the Throne. And then after that, we're getting 444 and Holy Grail stuff. So, I mean,
Watch the Throne overrated still, but it's better than all the shit that came after it. Like I have to be honest, I feel like Watch the Throne is held so high because neither one of them niggas have made anything better since then. That's not a reason to hold some shit high. That means you niggas need to do better.
Oh, Badly with the super chat says Jay need to be dropped off of these type of lists. He's got body on whole albums by Ye and gets washed on tracks with others all the
These
time.
niggas be pulling up saying this crazy stuff. See how they say stupid stuff when they pull up.
Also, Ghost is greater than Scarface. 36 Chambers with the super chat says Stronger was made with 2001 Daft Punk song. That's right. Okay. So it was
a sample.
Yeah.
But did they work together? Like, did Daft Punk come and
I thought they did work together.
Hold on, because I believe Kanye said something in an interview one time about actually being in the studio with them, Mike. So even though I think we're once again
it's a
in
little
the middle,
bit of both. Yeah.
I think it is a remake, but I think they remade it live in the studio. Would that sound about right?
I think so. That sounds about right. Mad Max says, in my opinion, Pac number 1, Nas number 2, Rakim 3, LL Cool J. I guess he got him tied with Rakim. 4. And yeah,
Who's
I guess
this
3
Mad
and
Max
4.
young ass?
Yeah, he says Jay-Z at 5, Ice Cube at 6, Biggie and KRS at 7 and 8, and then I have to think. Okay.
I thought about putting Biggie and KRS tied just about KRS's contributions and the gravity in which Big elevated for the time that he was here. And when we're talking about Biggie's hits, people need to understand. Oh no, we ain't just talking about his hits. You weren't there. Everything he rapped on damn near for about a 2.5, 3 year stretch was a hit. It wasn't just his hit records. It's if he did a verse, if he did a contribution, if he said "baby, baby" on a record, this shit was a hit. Like you could have breathed on the mic.
And the thing that's important to know is the fact that hits like that didn't exist before him.
They didn't, and you want to know, what his response was to all that hit making while his album was being made, Mike. He dropped Kick in the Door first. People forget that.
Yeah.
The first record you heard off Life After Death was Kick in the Door. I was like, when I heard Kick in the Door, I'm never going to forget, Mike. This nigga named Hassan. Hassan was from D.C. He had a fine-ass younger sister that everybody was in love with, including me, named Naima. But Naima actually liked me. We're sitting in Upward Bound one day. Naima heard the mix, and she just looked at me, and she's like, Coop. And she just passed her headphones over. And it was Biggie rhyming over Kick in the Door. I looked at her. I was like, this shit is over. It's over for everybody.
You rain on the top of short like
leprechauns. No, she pulled me in about the second verse. Like those second and third verses, I was like, so don't nobody want to rap with him right now.
That nigga's nice. Super.
And I was like, don't nobody want to rap with him right now, rapping like that. I was like, you can't rap like that. Nobody had rapped like that before. Right. You understand? It's like hearing some new shit. Like people understand. It's like you're listening to Biggie now and not understanding. No. Niggas didn't rap like that before. Nobody started off a song saying your rain on the top was short like leprechauns. Nobody talked like that. You don't understand the gravity of that.
It's like what it must have felt like when you heard Rakim for the first time. Like nobody.
Yes, it's very much like that because he was so inventive, Mike.
Yeah.
But it was evil. It wasn't nice. It was evil. Your rain on the top was short like leprechauns. Because I crushed so-called willies, thugs, and rapper dons. Who the fuck you think he talking about? He talking about Nas right there.
Get in that ass quick, fast like Ramadan. What?
Get in that ass quick, fast like Ramadan. People don't understand.
Like these was just
niggas is not rapping like this in 1997.
Yeah, this is just regular bars for him. You know, fuck a state pin, fuck hoes and Penn State type of shit.
I got more ride than Great Adventure. I was like, who the fuck says that?
Ohio okay with the super chat says people got to stop dogging whole projects for one or two songs that didn't fit their sound on the album or missed the mark by a small margin as well. I think that's fair. But again, we're talking about classics and we're splitting hairs at this point. That's where the nitpicking comes in at. I'm almost finished with these super chats, and I want to get to this second part here. Andrew Green says, production on the Dynasty album and the Reason album by Beans were both warm-ups sonically leading up to the culmination of the Blueprint. Most definitely.
Those production jobs were suspect, so I'm glad they got their warm-up time in, because the production job on the Reason was suspect.
DFW Herbie with the super chat says Kanye on Otis greater than Jay-Z on Otis. I think we could say that for most of the Watch the Throne album.
Let's Watch the Throne.
Because again, you could tell that Kanye was leading the charge sonically, and Jay was kind of trying to keep up with what Kanye was doing. And I know you and I talked on on the Patreon about Outkast and how it was very apparent who was leading the charge on each song. Like Outkast's catalog largely sounds like, okay, this is a song in Big Boy's chamber and this is Andre catching up to Big Boy. Or this is a song in Andre's chamber and this is Big Boy catching up to Andre. The whole Watch the Throne album felt like this is Kanye's chamber and Jay is adjusting to Kanye.
I want to tell you what, and here's where Kanye is important. I realized rap was changing. You know who made me realize rap was changing one day?
Who's that?
You'll appreciate this. The homie JJ used to do taxes with, our homie JJ.
Yeah. Shout out to JJ.
Yeah, shout out to JJ. God bless you and Holly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You already know what JJ done beat and conquered.
Yeah.
Keep on conquering. Be well, be safe, my brother. So this is back in the day when the Watch the Throne concert was coming to the arena. Me and JJ, I used to be the beverage director of the biggest sports bar downtown. JJ actually trained me there. I ended up being like their boss, not his boss, but you know what I mean? But one night, nigga JJ is like, and there's like 15 of us sitting around. Mm-hmm. And he like, the nigga Ye bodying Jay on every verse on Watch the Throne, and you niggas is acting like the shit ain't. You know how JJ talk with the deep voice, and you niggas is acting like this nigga ain't bodying Ho on all these tracks, and you know the nigga Ye is out here bodying him. Coop, you and AJ know. He talking to the homie AJ.
I can hear JJ saying
he's like, no, this nigga JJ in classic form, and you know that this nigga Ye is out here snapping, and this nigga Jay is sounding very, very comfortable on the mic. Cool. Now you's a rapping ass nigga, and you know that this nigga's getting smashed. Don't tell me that this nigga is out rapping this nigga Ye right now.
And he used to always quote the J line that started up fast, now you wheezing in the back.
When he said that, it was the first time I realized it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Ye's a real rapper. And then I was thinking about the records that I was hearing, and I was like, oh shit, the nigga JJ, right. And JJ in Miami, nigga, he just in tune to the streets like that. He was really just saying what the streets was saying. And so when you be like, Kanye's important to Jay, that's where all of that flipped. But I remember that argument right up the street before the concert because everybody was going to Phillips to see him. It's like, yo, that nigga Ye is out here snapping on Jay.
But that kind of lets you, and we talk about, and this kind of brings this conversation in full circle. We talk about his MCing skills. He would have never been able to do that on College Dropout. Like College Dropout, Kanye would have never been able to hang with Jay-Z on a Watch the Throne album.
No.
And share bars. And I knew he had stepped up his rap game when, as soon as we heard Diamonds, and this nigga's like, close your eyes and imagine, feel the magic, Vegas on acid, seen through East St. Laurent glasses. I'm like, this is a different rapper than we heard on like Through the Wire or even All Falls Down. The intensity, the comfortability on the mic. I mean, can't tell me nothing too, like with Graduation. Let me get to these super chats real quick. Darren Harris said, let's talk about Pusha and Prodigy's ranking. Okay, we'll talk about
that. You want to know what's crazy? Is that I'm going to tell you what, the names that I pulled up and put on my list, are we cool with Ye? Are we cool with Ye at 11 for right now? Can we just table it and see how it goes? Like, how about this? Let's see how the rest of it actually goes. He's been around for what? How long?
Been around since 2004, technically.
2004? So he's 19 years in. So he's about 13, 14, 15 years behind guys like Scarface, Nas, Snoop, about 10 years behind Ghostface, and Ray, about 8 years behind Jay. Let's just give it a little time and see how it goes. I think 11 is a good slot for him right now, given everything that we just said and the fact that his bar, like he ain't no Ghost or Ray on the mic. This is great for him right now at 11. That's what I'm saying.
I do want to say this though, and I know that, and I want to note these records because this was part of our earlier conversation. I did want to go through some of the stuff from the albums.
No, you should, and I want to give you that because I'm not trying to make it seem like the nigga don't make good B-sides.
Because We Don't Care is a great record, right?
It does.
We Don't
that shit
Care.
slaps. That's one of his best records to me.
Yeah. We Don't Care. Family Business. He has records like that. You didn't like Family Business? Family Business is a dope record.
I like it. I don't love it.
Last Call. You don't like Last Call?
That's what I mean. That's not classic. This is what I mean.
You don't think Last Call and Family Business are classic?
When you're saying that, okay, so this is what I'm talking about.
These are great albums.
Last Business. Hold on, let's talk about Family Calling Last Business. What album is those on?
That's on College Dropout.
First album, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, go put that shit up against those other guys' first album's best shit, like those end records like that. It's not the same. At that highest level, Mike, those records like that, well, that ain't no The Evils and Can I Live. That ain't no Memory Lane and fucking Represent. That ain't no Never Seen a Man Die in White Sheet. Like, it's not that.
Well, Never Seen a Man Die is not like a B-side on that song.
Okay, okay. What's you know the song One. That's what I mean. He don't have records.
I think Last Call is probably one of the strongest outros ever, in my opinion.
You really feel that way about Last Call?
I really do. Last Call is strong outro.
I love Last Call. I know people love it more than I do. If you want to say that, that's fine. How about this is what I'm saying. Do you remember the end to the diary?
Mm-hmm.
Like where Face is just like rapping.
Yeah.
And like literally like the nigga walks out the studio because Face, like, Ye don't do that. That's what I'm talking about, that MC shit where it's like, you know, where that nigga Face is just rapping on a level where it's like, oh no, I don't think nobody can fuck with him on the mic. Ye don't do that.
What about
Even
Roses?
These great records.
What about Roses? These are, I'm gonna go on to the next.
You know how I feel about Roses, Mike. I think Roses is arguably his best record.
I think Crack Music.
When you make the Tupac comparisons, when you talk about the content and the ability to put a song, no, Roses might be his best record.
We got Roses.
I own Roses.
We got Crack Music. We got these are solo
Crack Music.
Yeah. Bring Me Down with Brandy.
And not so high on that.
You didn't love Addiction like that?
Okay, Addiction and Bring Me Down are the two weak points on Late Registration to me. I feel like if you scratch those records, it's actually his best album.
We got Hey Mama.
Yeah,
we got Celebration. I love that record.
I love Celebration. Can I tell you something? Celebration. You know how I say I don't like the happy shit? Oh, no, I love Celebration. That's one great happy-ass record.
What about Late? I love that record, too.
I like Late, too. So, okay, all these songs that you're naming are great, not classic. That's what I keep saying. It's like, oh, no, these records are great. They are really, really great.
And I'm staying, and that's what I'm just saying. Like, I'm staying away from, like, the hits or whatever.
No, that's what I'm saying. So this is what I mean. So let's go back to Jay. Now, you brought up Late. Put that next to Regrets.
I like Late better than Regrets. I don't like Regrets like that. Maybe it's...
You think Late's better than Regrets?
I don't like Regrets. That's the one song on Reasonable Doubt. Like, I'll either go to Can I Live Part 2 or just cut the album off at that point. I don't know if it's the production of it or his delivery on it. Regrets sounds old. Regrets
he needs Regrets on Reasonable Doubt. Mike,
he does.
He's one hustling, snapping, pimping, trapping ass nigga on there.
No, I agree. I think from a content standpoint, he needs it, but from a quality standpoint, I think it could have been better.
Really?
It doesn't match up with the quality of a Politics as Usual or, a Dead Presidents, The Evils, Can I Live? Like, it doesn't match up with any of that.
Okay, so stop. When you're saying that, this is what I'm trying to say. Well, Politics as Usual, The Evils, Dead Presidents, Can I Live? This is what I'm talking about. That's not just classic rap stuff, Mike. That's some of the best rap stuff ever. That's what Jay does that Kanye can't do. Kanye doesn't have some of the stuff that makes you go,
That's some of the best rap shit I've ever heard. No. Jay has that all over his first 2 albums. That's why he doesn't belong in the top 10. That's what I'm saying. You're
What
talking about the
Kanye
quality of the
does?
song, but that nigga on Can I Live? Like, Ye don't have nothing to make you feel that way. It's like when that nigga said, so I keep one eye open like CBS. Mike, I looked around like, what the? I remember being a kid and looking around like, who is this guy? Ye don't do that to you as a young MC, as an inspiring MC, as a hip-hop lover. He just doesn't because he's not like that.
Well, what Kanye does is makes you hear an album and you think, is this the best hip-hop album I've ever heard? As opposed to the best rapping I've ever heard, per se.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Reasonable Doubt is full of rapping-ass moments to make you think that it's like, keep in mind, this is 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has moments to make you feel like it's like, well, I know that Nas and Big are better than this guy, but I don't know sometimes because of how he's rapping on this album. Kanye never has an MC moment where he leaves Earth like that and makes you question. This is Nas and Big in 96. Jay is making you question certain things when you were hearing him on certain records. Like, Ye has never had that effect as an MC on the culture at any time, but as a song maker, as an album maker, as a hit maker, yes, that effect. But that MC effect, like when you were hearing Jay rap on Dead Presidents, like, think about when the beat drops and you're like, he sampled The World Is Yours. It's like, is this nigga crazy? Then he start rapping and you're like, never mind.
Yeah, he's nice. No Sleep to Brooklyn with the super.
Like to apologize.
No Sleep to Brooklyn with the super chat says, to clarify, Kanye worked with Daft Punk to produce Black Skinhead and On Sight. Stronger was a sample. Thank you, No Sleep to Brooklyn.
Oh.
No Sleep to Brooklyn sounds like an insider. We got the real Mike D in here. Hold on one second. Let me get through the rest of these super chats. I know we're like super behind, and then we can get to the other MCs. I think I just skipped one. LP says, is every song that's not a single a B-side though? I guess so. I mean, it's not a single.
Here's what a B-side is to me. Either the people putting the album together,
or an album song, I guess would be more appropriate.
Or album song. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. The people putting the album together, they will either know what the record is and literally put it out as a B-side, or the people, Mike, will literally decide that record deserves to be played. Can I introduce you? Do you think public service announcement is something that Jay decided to make as a video, or you think that's something that the people was like, fam?
Oh, no, the people did that. He learned his lesson with not putting You Don't Know out.
Thank you. He's like, oh, no, we're doing PSA. Do you see how people are responding to this record? We're putting out. That's what I mean when I say B-side. Mike, when you hear, I know you know that Streets is Watching got released as a single to the Streets is Watching thing. But anytime you grab anything that has Streets is Watching, there was a single called Imaginary Player on it.
No, the Streets, I mean, Dame Dash even talks about that. When they made Sunshine and Who You With and stuff, the Streets demanded that they put Streets is Watching and Where I'm From out. That's why the movie gave that album a second leg. They went out there and did the movie because people weren't responding to the singles like they had hoped.
They was like, what the fuck is this? No, I was one of them dudes. I was like, what is this? Like, why is Imaginary Player? Like, when he's talking about, like, that second verse on Imaginary Player, like, this is what I mean about, like, sometimes you can want it too bad. How visual he's rhyming. And now you see these young cats all in their dumb raps talking about how they fun stacks. When I see them in the streets, that's a whole video scene.
I don't see none of that. Damn, Playboy,
where the fuck is a hum at? Where's all the ice with all the platinum under that? Mike, when he goes, those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the fuck you done to that? Mike, I immediately started trying to find out exactly what the difference between Rolex diamonds and like these niggas. I was like, hold on. I was like, this nigga is out here. Hold on, this is educational. I was like, is this nigga, is this street education going on?
He's talking to you. You rapping ass
talking
niggas,
to
y'all
you.
funny
He's educating you. Yo, dog, what's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6? Like, even, that's what I'm saying, even as an MC, when Jay was talking to you, there was something about it that was supreme that Ye's never had.
Well, conversational Jay is what separates him from everybody else, in my opinion. I mean, you have the stellar storytelling ability that Nas and Scarface and even Ghostface have that makes them elite in that facet. But Jay's conversational mode, to me, is what makes him one of the greats. What he's able to do on You Don't Know is because of how conversational he is. What he's able to do on Imaginary Player is because of how conversational he is. I don't think anybody even matches him in that mode. if we be real.
I didn't understand that niggas was buying Rolexes and going and getting more diamonds thrown on. Jay's looking at them like, no, nigga, that's Rolex. Have you ever had money before and understand that you don't add diamonds to a Rolex? The Rolex is okay as it is. That's what I mean about it being educational.
Well, here's the true solo mission right here. Good morning. Did you like Good Morning?
I love Good Morning. It's one of his best records.
Champion.
I'm not a big fan of Champion.
It's a dope song, but I feel you. I Wonder, which is one of my favorite moments.
I can't front. I Wonder is one of his best beats to me.
That shit's crazy.
That shit knock. I Wonder knock.
I want to listen to that tonight, actually.
Hold on. What did he say? You don't even know what the
issue is. You just trying to find where the tissue is.
Yeah, you don't even know.
It ain't happened yet.
You're just trying to find out where the tissue is. Yeah.
It ain't happened yet, and that's what intuition is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't discount this guy. Yeah,
I Wonder is one of his better records to me too.
Yeah, we can't discount this guy. And of course, Can't Tell Me Nothing Solo Shot, but then you got Flashing Lights, Everything I Am. Solo shot. I love that.
Can I tell you something? I don't love Everything I Am like everybody else does. I don't.
I like the
glory.
glory.
I know Cream helped out with it and all that. I just don't love it. I don't.
I love the glory. What did you think about the glory?
Ooh, you know what? The glory after Flashing Lights is actually my second favorite song on there.
I think so too.
And that's the one. When you meet me in person, what do you feel like? I know. I look better in real life.
Then you got Homecoming and Big Brother. He really held it.
I love those records like that. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the stuff that other people love, it's like, no, I hear what he's doing. It's just not touching me like that. Like The Glory, Flashing Lights, Good Morning, I Wonder. Yeah. The rest of that stuff, made for TV.
Now he's a true solo MC on Graduation. That's
his solo shot. But that's what I'm saying. Listen, okay, so the way that I see him, your best solo record is your fourth best album. What does that say about you as an MC? Because Jay's best two records, he's solo MCing like a motherfucker.
That's fair.
Nas's best two records, solo MCing like a motherfucker. Ice Cube, Scarface, KRS-One, Snoop. You feel me where I'm going with this?
Dark Fantasy.
Right.
Dark Fantasy is heavy.
Look, Ghostface, Supreme Clientele. Right. He don't have no Supreme Clientele.
Supreme Clientele. And I'm not,
Supreme Clientele better than everything Kanye ever made?
Yeah, it's better than everything a lot of people have ever made.
I'm just asking, we talking about Kanye. Supreme Clientele better than everything Kanye ever made.
Yeah, I could call out a lot of people on that one. I think it's better than anything Jay-Z ever made, in my opinion.
No, I have Supreme Clientele at a Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, it is. It's better.
It's better than Reasonable Doubt.
It is.
Clientele is that shit.
Yeah. Now, I don't think Ghost is overall better than Jay, but Supreme Clientele's better than Reasonable Doubt to me.
Sure
if somebody said it wasn't, I wouldn't be mad, but nah.
Production's better.
His rapping is actually better. Like, nigga was nuts on that album.
We'll call the rapping on par.
I feel
Production's better.
Dark Fantasy is a solo shot on this one. You got Power. Then you got All of the Lights. Then that's when the collaborations come.
Oh, you forgot Gorgeous. It goes intro. It goes Dark Fantasy, Gorgeous, Power, All of the Lights.
No, I was just skipping the stuff that had features.
Oh, you skipping the stuff with the help.
Yeah, right. I was just going with the stuff that's just solo shots. Blame Game, Hell of a Life. I actually like Hell of a Life.
See, hold on. Go name the records on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy where he's on a solo shot again.
That's Dark Fantasy, Power, All of the Lights, Hell of a Life, Blame Game.
It's 5 records, Mike. That might be his best album in the end. That's what I'm saying. That ain't gonna do.
Surviving America, that's a bonus. Well, I mean, the Charlie Wilson song's a bonus. See Me Now. But see, you know what? The thing about this album,
he's better when he collaborates. He's a producer, Mike.
See,
he's a producer more than an MC, even for the great MC that he is.
And this is what's deceiving about this. My Mama's Boyfriend, which didn't make this album, is a solo shot, and I think that it's one of the best songs he ever made. I hate that song didn't make this album. That's when he was at the Facebook offices on the table rapping this shit before this album came out. It's so many songs that didn't make this great album.
Who is the executive producer of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy again?
It's him, ain't it?
Okay, so that's his fault.
No,
Okay.
I agree with you. I'm just saying.
How about this, Mike? There's about 3 or 4 songs that he left off. If he takes 3 or 4 records off and puts certain 3 or 4 records on, we're having a top 10 or 15 album conversation about this album, but we're not.
But see, I'm one of the people that gives Nas a lot of credit for the records that never came out. And I hear them. They're out here on the internet. And the fact that he does have 2 lost tapes and probably is able to have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 different lost tapes or whatever, I factor that into his overall greatness and the quality of those records.
I'm going to tell you this respectfully, Mike. If you were to take his material from a 3 or 4 year period, a la lost tapes, it wouldn't be better than the lost tapes. Even the records that you naming, like ain't no do-rags in there, no ideas original in there.
Are you talking about Kanye?
Yeah, from the like ain't no ideas original
that?
Do-rags in there. Like it's cool, Mike, but it ain't. That's why I keep saying it's like, no, it's great.
The Good Friday series was crazy stuff.
Oh, the Good Friday series is crazy. None of them songs is better than Do-rags or No Ideas original.
Chain
That's
Heavy
what I'm saying.
is great.
There's levels to this. That's what I mean about
great.
him being in the next. No, that's what I mean about him being in the next tier, because every time you keep talking about these records, I'm like, yeah, 11 to 20. Because it's like, no, the guys in the 1 to 10, it's like, no, they got records that will literally step on those records. Jay got records that step on those records. Space do, Cube do, Snoop do, LL do. Like, they got records that step on those records, Mike.
I disagree
Not
with
beat,
you.
step.
I
Man,
disagree.
Snoop could crip walk on some of those records. Snoop could crip walk
I
on those
disagree
records.
with you on
Snoop
that.
be crip walking on those records. Drop It Like It's Hot, specifically.
So where do you want to put Pusha T and Prodigy? Like, how do you think those two compare?
Is that where we're going next, or are we going to Thought first? Because I'm gonna tell you the people that caught us some flex.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. You tell me.
We caught flex. It seems like about Black Thought being ahead of J. Cole. The plug hit me up about Prodigy being too low. I put Prodigy where I put him intentionally to see if somebody was going to respond.
Yeah, I know, because you're big. You're really high on Prodigy.
I am. I put him where I put him. And I was like, is anybody going to say anything about him being right here? The plug was the only one that pulled up and said something, but I kind of wanted to address it. Lupe, people feel like it's too low. So I was thinking Thought, Lupe, Prodigy, and that's probably all we're going to have time for today. But if we can get those placed, I knew Ye was about to take this show up. It's Kanye, Mike.
It's the most polarizing figure
It's Kanye,
in hip-hop.
right. We were about
Him
to
and
be here.
Tupac. Him and Tupac are the most polarizing figures in hip-hop.
He's no Tupac, but I love him. Yeah. All right.
I mean, listen, he's a guy who, George Bush said that the lowest point of his presidency is when Kanye West said he didn't care about black people. Barack Obama called him what did he call him? A jackass. And him and Donald Trump are, we're buddies. Actually, Donald Trump just called him crazy. So this guy has 3 or 4 presidents of the United States speaking on him. He's a big deal.
No, he's kind of like a big deal till the casket drops. So I want to start with the Thought over Cole thing right quick, because I feel like we're going to have to wrap these next few conversations up in a couple of 10-minute intervals as we're approaching 3 hours of talking about Kanye's placement.
Yeah,
I knew was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
It needed to happen.
No, it's fine. It needed to happen. So I want to have the Black Thought conversation first. Are we clear that Mobb Deep is a better group all time than The Roots?
I am.
No, we clear.
I'm clear on that.
I was kind of saying that, Mike, like in jest, as in like, if you were thinking differently, you're wrong. Now, as an MC, much as I love Prodigy, he is not Black Thought on the mic over the duration, correct?
Correct.
And so what I really want to do with Thought and Prodigy, because they are both now artists who have made great classic material, but have also made quality, not classic solo material, is really start parsing out what it means to you. Because for me, based on what I have heard, and I know Thought has been doing this longer, well, forget J. Cole, I would put Prodigy over Black Thought. Black Thought doesn't have a Leave Earth album like the infamous or Hell on Earth as a lyricist or MC for as great as he's been. He didn't like leave Earth and put himself in any top 3 discussions on Philadelphia Half-Life and Things Fall Apart. And we know because we were there. Now,
But Prodigy was still in a group where he was sharing bars, though, with another MC, whereas even though the Roots may have had, features here and there, for the most part, Thought was handling most of those important Roots songs by himself.
Okay, so when you go to the group work, who made the better songs?
When you go to the group work as a collective, I would say Mobb Deep, in my opinion.
When you go to the solo shots, who made the better songs?
I think Black Thought did.
How can you say that when Quiet Storm and Keep It Thorough exist?
Quiet Storm and Keep It Thorough are very, very big deals.
No. Show me where Black Thought has a Quiet Storm or a Keep It Thorough has an MC on some solo shit.
That's very fair. I think that...
Show me the quotable verse like Shook Ones or Give Up the Goods or Survival of the Fittest.
I think that's very fair.
Prodigy got a lot of shit over Thought. You understand what I'm saying?
I think that's very fair. As a fan of both of them, I'm just trying to be somewhat balanced here. Never do what they do is not Keep It Thorough or Quiet Storm, in my opinion. But
and neither is Mike. And listen to what I'm about to say. And neither is Aquamarine. Neither is Concerto of the Desperado. Neither is Break You Off. Neither is Star. Neither is Proceed.
What about You Got Me? What do you think about
You Got Me? Neither is Hypnotic. Neither is You Got Me. I know the Thought solo records. He don't have no Quiet Storm.
You're more of a Roots fan than I am.
I am. That's why I'm telling you this objectively.
Andrell Green, excuse me, my bad, bro, says, Kristen Dior denim flow should be on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Huge disappointment. I agree, man. Also, Nas's Lost Tapes 2 isn't good. Probably his worst album. I think he did that after Nasir to get out of his Def Jam contract.
I actually know that directly. Actually, that's absolutely true. He literally just handed Def Jam some songs to get out of the contract due to some nefarious things going on behind the scenes I won't be discussing.
Jay Short with the Super Chat says, why don't we deduct points for Yeezy and Donda like Nostradamus and 444? Ye is like Jordan at this point. Even when he loses, it's ignored. I only ignored those for timing purposes. We would spend the whole show on them if we would have went through those. DFW Herbie says, Havoc wrote for Prodigy on the first album. What? First album as in Juvenile Hell or as in The Infamous?
To quote Tyrone Biggums from the Dave Chappelle show, you smoke rocks. You smoke rocks.
Yeah, I'm going to need some evidence on that.
You smoke rocks. Nobody. Stop. Next.
So listen, if Prodigy's going to be above Black Thought in that facet, I'm not mad at that. I mean, because I think that Prodigy has put together a lot of quality solo material in the 2000s that kind of got overlooked because of how big of a shadow that the Mobb Deep catalog is casting.
Can I ask you, and this is what I mean about how like I put Prodigy where I put him on purpose to start asking certain questions. It's like, okay, all you dudes that love Black Thought or love Lupe, those supreme lyricists, tell me how many of their rhymes that you can quote, the way you can quote Prodigy's rhymes, who is a supreme lyricist as well. This is what I mean, because this is what the plug said, something that I wanted somebody to say. Well, he's not only a lyricist, but he's quotable.
I got you stuck off the realness.
That's what I'm saying. So when people be talking about like Lupe and Thought, like all this lyrical stuff, it's like, we understand that part of what makes Nas so great, Rakim so great, is that they're lyricists, but you can understand exactly what they're saying and what they're talking about. It's not above the fray or above your head. I'm going to go back to Take It in Blood again, which, by the way, played when I was streaming today, because I've been streaming music, thanks to the plug. I never brag how real I keep it, because it's the best secret. I rock a vest, prestigious, Cuban link flooded Jesus. In the Lex, watching Kathy Lee and Regis, my actions are one with the seasons. A text squeezing, executioner. Wintertime, I rock a fur. Mega popular, center of attraction, climaxing. My bitches, they be laughing. They all snipping coke off of 20 shit, Andrew Jackson. No, he's not saying anything that's beyond your comprehension. Part of being a great lyricist is people understanding it. When you get too lyrical, when people be talking about Black Thought and Lupe, they need to understand it. It's like, but part of being a lyricist too is still getting people to quote your shit.
It's to connect.
Prodigy might be the most quotable lyricist we've ever had, Mike.
Who? Prodigy?
Prodigy. Think about, how about this?
I'm going Rakim. I came in the door, said it before.
I said arguably, because then there's arguments. But what I'm saying is that, man, how about this? Niggas can spit Prodigy's 10, 20 best verses. What's Thought's 10 best verses that you can spit? Name them to me. Tell them to me off the head. Lupe. You see when niggas be talking this shit, it's like, no. It's like, do he have a give up of goods? He got a Quiet Storm. He got a Shook One. He got a Survival of the Fittest. Nighttime Vultures. Hell on Earth. G.O.D. Father Part 3. Quiet Storm. You get what I'm saying? When niggas be talking about this lyrical stuff, it's like, well, Prodigy has all of that and you remember it.
Yeah.
And you say it. Mike, I put my lifetime in between the paper's lines.
I'm the Quiet Storm nigga that fights rhyme. Now, does Black Thought have a featured appearance like Prodigy on the I Shot Ya remix?
No. And neither does Lupe.
Well, DFW.
Okay, have any of them made the infamous or Hell on Earth? Because as much as I love me some Philadelphia and When Things Fall Apart, that's not the infamous in Hell on Earth. Production-wise, MC-wise, song-wise, quotable-wise. Now, are we docking Prodigy because of the longevity and holding Thought up high for the longevity? Because what I would tell you is that, Mike, Hell on Earth and Philadelphia Half-Life came up in 96. You want to pull up on Thought in 96 and do what we just did with ATLiens? Because people that love Thought like I do, I'm telling you, you're going to get your feelings hurt the way ATLiens got their feelings hurt by Prodigy in 96 on Hell on Earth. You are. And that's Thought's coming out party. You do not want that smoke with Prodigy in 96?
I think we do have to give points for longevity. I mean, it's something to be said about the fact that Black Thought's this good for this long in an industry or in a game where artists don't normally do that. You got him, you got Nas, and you got Jadakiss off the top of my head. Like, being this good for this long, it's unheard of. So, yeah, I will give him points for that, and a lot of points.
But when they were active and when they were here, who was actually better? They were both in their primes at the same time.
In their primes, Prodigy was better. But from end to end, Black Thought's better. But I think if the music is the tiebreaker, I could see Prodigy winning that. I mean, you made some great points when you said, does Black Thought have a Keep It Thorough, Quiet Storm? I mean, I think that's very legit.
It is legit. I know. I love Thought. I follow the catalog extensively. But I'm saying all of this about Prodigy because when people start asking about Thought being higher, it's like, oh, well, if you're sliding Thought up, you're going to say you're sliding Prodigy up. It's probably sliding Prodigy ahead of Thought.
Yeah.
Because the infamous and Hell on Earth are better than Philadelphia and When Things Fall Apart. And when people are talking about Thought the MC, those are the two moments. Well, Prodigy's moments are better. The songs are bigger. The songs are more classic. The solo material is still better, Mike. HNIC and Return of the Mac is still better than anything Thought's done. So how is Thought being disrespected at 23, but Prodigy's not being respected at 27? And so if we moving Thought up, we moving Prodigy up is all I'm saying. And that's what I mean about kind of parsing through it and why I wanted to bring up Thought and Prodigy.
Hold on. You think that HNIC and Return of the Mac are better than Cheat Codes?
I listened to HNIC last night. I don't know if there's this is what I mean. Like Thought lyrically, when he digs in, it makes it hard to ignore. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh man, I think about the time that it's taken Thought to get to this point to make a song like that.
Yeah.
Prodigy was making Quiet Storm 2 decades ago, Mike.
Yeah.
Prodigy was making Quiet Storm 2 decades ago. Thought just started making Aquamarine.
Just like we have to give points for longevity, we also have to give points for people being ahead of the curve. I mean, Biggie gets that nod. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, and I know people look at, when we rank Biggie and when we talk about Biggie, is they think that his untimely demise has a lot to do with that. No, he was really ahead of the curve.
Like
he was ahead of the wave. Like he was doing things that had never been done on the mic and making records that had never really succeeded in hip hop on a B side level and on a A side level, on a hit record radio level and on a B side level.
Right. So if Thought's being disrespected at 23, Prodigy's being disrespected even more, because I would submit to you that he should probably be ahead, because he's ahead on everything except for longevity.
DFW
and obviously lyrics, but even that's what I'm saying. When we go lyrics / storytelling, it's like, oh, I love Thought. He ain't the fucking storyteller Prodigy is. You heard the infamous In Hell on Earth. You heard Nighttime Vulture and Trife Life and QU Hectic and Temperatures Rising. He's not a better storyteller than P.
Well, I gotta ask what Pusha T fits in all this. DFW Herbie with the super chat says Havoc himself on Math Hoffa's podcast said he wrote all of P's verses for their first album. So Havoc smokes rocks, Coop. What first album?
Juvenile Hell?
Juvenile Hell? Or are we talking about
the Hit It From the Back and the original Shook ones? You remember the video to the original Shook ones? That was some real good shit.
Yeah. I mean, listen. If he wrote his verses on that album, then maybe Prodigy should have wrote his own verses like he did on the Infamous.
I would like to let the record show that if that did happen, things didn't take off until that stopped.
Yeah. I mean,
for real, I think Hit It From the Back and the Juvenile Hell song, I think, which Primo produced, and then Shook ones. Those were like the only three records on there that were like any good, if memory serves.
Yeah. The Infamous is probably one of the biggest jumps an act has ever made from the first album to the next. I would say that and the score. Michael Williams.
He's an all-time great MC on the Infamous. It's like, oh, hold
on. Michael Williams in the super chat says, what are the top 5 most lyrical Nas projects? I know you both have It Was Written #1, but what's after that? I would say Illmatic's after that, just from a lyrical standpoint.
Lost Tapes after that.
Yeah.
And then Stillmatic.
Yeah, I actually would have Stillmatic ahead of Lost Tapes lyrically.
I can't do that with No Ideas Original and Do-Rag sitting there.
I feel you, but you got
and Purple and Blazer 50.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of Fetus and Drunk by Myself and Papa Was a Player. Like, no, I can't do that. Like, man, this nigga crazy.
I guess I'm thinking Poison. I mean, what goes around comes around.
How about this? What goes around? The Poison record lyrically is better than everything between the two albums. Like, that's the gem.
So is Rewind.
Two highest moments are on Stillmatic, but everything else is on Lost Tapes after that. That's what I'm saying is like there's what goes around and Rewind on Stillmatic. But if we were talking lyrically, then it would go everything else on the Lost Tape side until I think maybe You're the Man. Like You're the Man lyrically is not better than Do-Rags or No Ideas Original or Blazer 50. Like I know that for sure. It might be like Purple level, Drunk by Myself level. Like maybe it's close. Magic would be the 5th one though.
Okay, I'm with that. I like that 5. Jay Short with Super Chat says Mobb Deep is the Lakers. The Roots are like the Spurs. Sometimes a lot of 8s can equal those 10s.
Okay. I like that. I like that analysis. All I'm saying is that we have right here Kendrick, Redman, DMX, and Method Man are finishing off our 20.
Hold on. Let me get Andrew Green Super Chat. He says Prodigy's overthought off the strength that Prodigy's style is so unorthodox that it can't be duplicated. He structures his bars like nobody ever. He is raw and has some of the best opening lines ever. I think those opening lines are big.
The saga begins.
Yeah, the opening lines are big.
War.
Like what is Black Thought's biggest opening line?
I got you stuck off the realness. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever.
Woo.
Right. Yeah.
I break bread, ribs, $100 bills. Pills, right. Kylie.
I'm in a lifetime in between the papers line. I'm a quiet storm nigga who fight rhyme. P, yeah, you heard of him, but I ain't concerned with them, nigga. I pop more guns than you holding them.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that stuff matters, man.
That stuff matters. Yeah. It matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
Now, I'm interested to see, like I said, if that's where we're at when it comes to Prodigy and Black Thought, where does Pusha T fit in this mix? Because
Well,
Pusha's
hold on. Here's
not
what I
as
would
nice
say.
as Thought, or he's not as nice as Thought. I don't think Prodigy in his prime either, but he has a longevity conversation too.
Who?
Pusha.
Yes.
He's been
Okay.
very
Hold
good
on.
for a very long time.
Hold on. Let's stay with Prodigy and Thought right quick, because
Okay.
they're at 23 and 27 on this list. Who in the top 20 should be slid out for both of those gentlemen if people feel that way? Method Man's at 20, DMX is at 19, Redman's at 18, Kendrick's at 17. Do we have something wrong? Like for me, I would put Prodigy right after Chuck D at 17. Actually, on a personal list, Prodigy would be higher than this. But I would put Prodigy at 17. And I would probably put Thought right after DMX and put him at 20 and slide Method Man out. And you've seen what Thought did to Meth, too, as much as I love Meth.
I think based on all those things,
But the Wu-Tang shit, like the Wu-Tang shit.
based on all those things that we just said about Prodigy,
Meth's more quotable than maybe both of them, though.
in relation to Black Thought, I feel like it's hard to move Method Man, and
That's what we keep saying about Meth.
and when we say Method Man is the best collaborator ever, he is, like, by far. There's a reason why he's the only person on Ready to Die.
Correct.
The one thing that Method Man misses is that
if
one
he had a
thing
classic album, we wouldn't even be having a conversation about this, Mike.
he has classic singles. And honestly, it's not like he made bad albums per se. I think that he just never made an album that matched up to the level that he is. Now, does that knock him down further than he already is? No. Because I feel like if he did have that, classic or Doggy Style level record, because we expect a Doggy Style level record from Method Man, based on his skill set, based on the people that he rhymes with, based on the crew he comes out of. If he had something like that, he would just be in the top 10. It's hard to say that he don't deserve that 20 spot, because just like I said about Kanye, even though he might be missing something that most of the other guys got, he does a lot of things that none of those guys could ever dream to do.
They could never do Cream or Ice Cream.
No.
They could never do shadow boxing.
There's no way Black Thought could do the Cream hook.
Or shadow boxing. You don't have enough style for that.
No.
You don't have enough charisma. Nothing against Thought. So here's what I tell you. Are you still cool with Kendrick being on the top 20? Could you see
Prodigy even doing All In Together now with, Premier and Limp Bizkit? Like,
are you cool with Kendrick being on this list? Still in the top 20?
Kendrick's a different being too, but yeah, I think that once again, like where Method Man doesn't have that classic album, the classic album thing is the only thing that Kendrick really has outside of his one-on-one skills.
He doesn't check any of these boxes like on the level of a lot of these guys outside of the album and the storytelling ability. You understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have him at 17. Are you sure that Prodigy doesn't deserve 17?
I think Kendrick deserves to be over Prodigy.
Okay. So who I have at 18?
You changed your list up, right? Because I think I got the old list here.
Yeah, I did a revise online. It'd be tough to find my shit sometime now.
Because I still got the list where you got Kendrick at 14.
No, Wayne is at 14. We slid Kendrick down to 17. Redman is at 18. What do you think about Prodigy over Redman?
That's a conversation. Let me go to the people real quick. 36 Chambers says, do we downplay Lyrical Miracle for not being relatable? It takes just as much skill to lay down bars like Lupe, Thought, A$AP Rock. It going over your head doesn't take away from the skill of the craft. What say you about that?
First of all, that's totally wrong. To a degree, it does. And we're actually going to do a lyricist list, because part of the reason why I wanted to do an MC list is that too many people are making MC lists and putting lyrics on this higher weighted scale above everything else. And so I want to try to separate it and make it its own scale. So for those of you that feel like Lupe or Black Thought is ranked too low, it's like they're actually not. Where they're most inclined is lyrically. And what you're going to find is that both of them are probably going to rank top 5 on a lyricist list. But on this list, not so much. Because quite frankly, these niggas can't make One More Chance or Juicy or Dear Mama or How Do You Want It or No More Pain or Ambitions as a Rider or Who Shot You or The World Is Yours. No, they can't. And so we keep talking about this lyrical shit like it's the only thing that matters, that niggas deserve to be in the top 5 or the top 10 because they're super lyrical. Explain to me how the fuck Rakim and Tupac and Biggie got here.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Pusha can't make a great album past a half an hour. Can we really stop the Pusha gas? A great EP rapper, a 2-verse king, but doesn't have the impact. I think, as much as I love Pusha T and I love Daytona, I'm not really mad at that assessment.
That's part of the reason why I held him back some. What would I were to tell you that it's like, what if I told you Prodigy should be 18? Black Thought should be 19. And DMX and Method Man should be tied at 20, and we should move Redman to 22. How would you feel?
I've always lived by the notion that Redman is above many of the people you named, actually all of the people you named, because he has the multiple classic albums. How
are those classics holding up outside of Muddy Waters?
Hey, I think that's a fair assessment.
Just asking questions. I love
and just like you and I said, and I think we talked about this offline. This wasn't really on the Patreon. I feel like when it comes to Outkast's catalog, the reason why it's aging in the way that it is and not in the level that Wu-Tang and Tribe's catalogs are is because of inactivity and not performing, and we don't hear those Redman records like we should. So yes, it's tough for them to age, as well as, a Mobb Deep record, a Wu-Tang record, a Roots record, or you know what I mean, like,
what if
or even a DMX record. I think DMX kind of, rest in peace. I think he kind of suffers from a similar thing. I think we're rating DMX on potential because of the things that he was able to accomplish.
The way he took the game.
Yeah, the way he was, the remarkable stuff he was able to accomplish in a 2-year period. But from a longevity standpoint, it seems a little bit unfair to put him above Redman.
Okay.
Even though I feel like, he exhibited that he was a more rounded overall artist, or MC the Redman in those 2-year periods. But
I get it. Let's hold on. Let's pause for a second. And I hear everything that you're saying respectfully. We're going to have to get out of here soon.
Yeah. We got to get out of here. But yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm discounting either one, but I think based on the whole resume, I would have to put Redman above DMX. And if DMX would have kept
when you
on
said
that
all
course,
that, it made me slide DMX out my top 20 because you just made some very valid points. But here's what I want to tell you. Right now, the way that I have this situated, how about this, Mike? And this is just the issue we're going to have to address with Redman. Okay, so Redman, how about this? If Method Man had Redman's catalog, he'd be the greatest MC of all time. Like, if he had his album catalog, like if he had what he had and had Redman's album catalog, he'd be the greatest MC of all time. But what I would submit to you is that Method Man right now, without a classic album, has more memorable moments, more memorable verses and classic verses, and more classic songs than Redman.
And I think he has more lyrical content. And I also think that if we want to talk about,
I'll be there for you. Redman can't do that.
And I think also if we talk about, the versatility and lyrical content, and if we talk about the longevity conversation and how great Method Man sounds right now, it would be tough to argue that Redman's on that same, plane as Method Man is on the mic right now.
What do you feel about putting Prodigy at 18, Black Thought at 19, keeping Method Man at 20, and moving Redman right in front of Jadakiss at 21?
I'm okay with that actually.
Is Redman ahead of Jadakiss before we even go any further with that?
Man, that's such a difficult thing because it's like Jadakiss might be outside of Method Man the one guy who has the most incredible catalog that
Without a
doesn't
classic
have
album. That's
that
why I have them
classic.
right next to each
I
other.
think that him and Method Man specifically, they're so
They're a classic album away from being
they're
top 10.
unique in that way, and I don't think we can hold the classic album thing against them because
Yes, we can, because too many guys are in front of them.
I agree with you. No, I ain't saying you put them number one, but I'm saying it doesn't keep them out of the top 25.
It doesn't keep them out of the top 25, but Ghostface made Supreme Clientele, and he's at number 12. They haven't made an album that sniffs that.
Yeah.
And Ghost, hold on, listen to what I'm saying. Ghost made Supreme Clientele, and he's got Iron Man, Bulletproof, and Fish Scale. They ain't made that either. And he's had 12 with those 4 albums.
I'll say this.
Made Supreme Clientele.
I think that the records that Jada is on are very big records that aged very well.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you where we have it right now, and we can kind of freak it, and I'll re-release it. You mind if I read it off right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Nas, we got Jay-Z, which part of me feels like we need to talk about. Rakim, Tupac, Biggie, KRS-One, Ice Cube, Snoop, LL, Scarface. That's our top 10.
Okay.
Our 11 to 20, Kanye, Ghostface, Raekwon. I love that I put Ray so high and people didn't say nothing, because if they did, I was going to like hit him with so much shit, it was going to be ridiculous. Lil Wayne at 14, Common at 15, Chuck D at 16, Kendrick at 17, Prodigy at 18, Black Thought at 19, Method Man at 20, Kiss at 21, Cole is at 22, Redman's at 23, G-Rap Kane 24, 25, Push is still at 26, DMX at 27.
I like that
list. Some of this stuff, but we can flip some of this stuff around because a lot of people are going to be like, DMX is ahead of these guys. I already see that coming.
I'm willing to, and you know how hard I go for It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I'm willing to be able to formulate a real argument to why, DMX is there. And and again, God bless the dead, but it's the decline. And
well, it's also that, how about this? Slick Rick is 28, Mike.
Yeah.
On the list, he made The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick.
And
DMX made It's Dark and Hell is Hot. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, you made one of the best rap albums we have ever heard.
Yeah. A game changer, too. And in all fairness, when it comes to Slick Rick, there's never really been any sign of decline. If Slick Rick gets on a record today, that shit goes.
Sound like Slick Rick when he
You know what I'm saying? Like when Slick Rick got on the Art of Storytelling with Cass, that was 98. That was 10 years.
He was on the Preem joint last year.
I'm just going.
With Wayne, the joint with Wayne and
I'm just saying, I'm just going year by year. That's 10 years after Great Adventures. And then you look at him on the Purple Tape 2, that's 20 years after that. Like, Slick Rick always sounds good.
Actually, I'm going to tell you when I realized that, like, that nigga Slick Rick was, like, all-time great, because he was never put in the lyricist category with Ra and G-Rap and KRS. Oh, when he did the back and forth with Ray on Frozen, I was like, oh, this nigga rap. This nigga rap. It's like, no. We're gonna
outside of Rakim, Slick Rick's my personal favorite rapper from the 80s.
Me too. Yeah. No. Slick, Mike, even over Rakim, Slick Rick is my personal favorite. Like, as far as personal favorite, I told you the first rap album I ever listened to was The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. He's number one in my heart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's Rick the Ruler.
Chris Daughtery with the super chat says, "Coop, Kendrick out of top 20, play Rick Ross and Kendrick. Ross catalog, contribution. I'm sorry, collaboration. How can Kendrick be top 20? So you got Ross over Kendrick. I understand it. I feel him.
We have a conversation. We got Rick Ross at 30 on this list. I think somewhere on the list. So yeah.
Does Rick Ross have a better catalog than Kendrick?
In my opinion.
Okay.
But so Rick Ross didn't disappear for 5 years. Did you see the stuff that Rick Ross made while Kendrick was gone?
If Rick Ross and Kendrick did a versus, you got Rick Ross winning?
I don't have Kendrick winning 7 songs.
You know what? That's funny. I'm going to put that on According to Hip Hop. We should do that.
You don't want no smoke with Ross catalog?
Lex Diesel with the super chat says, Busta should be higher than Redman. Busta has more hits, better features, and better performance. Patreon their catalog if you don't believe me.
No. See, this is why I wanted to have this conversation. Do you see how we're freaking the list, Mike, and how it keeps happening? I want to address it because it's like when something isn't right to people, the people are going to speak up. No, Taj said something about Prodigy. She's like, yo, Coop, you got Prodigy at 27? She's like, now, I respect you. I was like, oh, no. I was like, we're going to pull up on that after we pull up about Ye. And so, like, we just going to pull up about these things and parse it out. That's why it's like I put certain people in certain spots for a reason to kind of gauge. Like, I'm so surprised nobody said something about my 13 and 14 yet. I got Ray at 13 and Wayne at 14. Nobody said anything, but people's like, you got thought like this.
I hear people saying Wayne's too high, but that's probably,
But we can address that.
Well, one of the things that also I think is interesting, and I want to put on According to Hip Hop, I wonder if people feel like Busta Rhymes is a better MC than Prodigy.
No. I never felt that way.
36 Chambers says Meth only has more memorable moments due to his group effect with Wu.
It's the best group ever, and he's the lead man, motherfucker. This is what I'm tired of explaining to people.
Are we deducting points from Redman for things that are group oriented, like Wu hooks?
We about to pause it right here and let it go like this. And I'm glad people are bringing this up, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. Mike, for the first time in at least 10 years, I listened to Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers from end to end the other day. And I listened to it from end to end. Method Man's barely on that album. That's how big of a star he was. He actually, like Deck, Ray, Ghost, and Dirty got more run on that album. But he's the star of the album because, Mike, when he shows up, you know who the star is.
Yeah.
He's only on a few records, Mike. He's on Shame on a Nigga. He's got a verse on Shame on a Nigga. He's got a verse on Seventh Chamber. Listen to this. He's got a hook on Chess Boxing. He's got a verse on Wu-Tang Clan, Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. So understand, when Cream is coming on, we're on record number 8. This dude has spit 3 verses and done 1 hook. On Cream, which is track 8, he does the hook. So we're 9 records in. He's done 3 verses and 2 hooks. Then there's the Method Man solo shot. And then there's the verse on Protect Your Neck. That's all a Method into the Wu-Tang.
Wow.
Now, why was he the first motherfucker to get a deal? Because every time he showed up, Mike, like the Chess Boxing hook, the Cream hook, the verse on Wu-Tang, these are the moments, Mike.
I mean, for me, growing up, when I first heard Wu, he was the face of Wu to me.
He's not even rapping like that on Enter the Wu-Tang.
No, he ain't even on there like
Shame on the Nigga sounds like Old Dirty Bastard record.
He's that polarizing, man, where it's like...
that good.
Yeah, he's great. He's a star. Good. Yeah.
Well, I forgot he was on Seventh Chamber. Mike, you can hear something else important about Enter the Wu-Tang, and then we can get out of here. I was very, very clear to me. It's like, oh, Mike, when I was listening to Bring the Ruckus the other day, and it's like Ghostface came in, and then Det came in, and then Ray came in, and then Jizza came in. It's like, no, you had never heard this before. Seventh Chamber, where 7 of them niggas was rapping on one song. It had been a minute, Mike. I was like, oh no. I was like, this had never been done before when they did it.
Yeah.
It had never been done before. Like when you're hearing Chess Boxing and Seventh Chamber and Bring the Ruckus and like Protect Your Neck, it's like, Mike, we trying to figure out who the fuck they were. It's like, because you had never even heard so many guys that could rap at this level on songs together. Like consistently, it's like, oh no, they got a few songs like this. Like every song's going to be the Scenario remix.
Right. This is
every song the Scenario remix, and they had a Busta Rhymes. They had 2 Busta Rhymes.
Yeah. Incredible.
It's never happening again.
Well,
and you want to know what else too? I thought about this. It might be a top 5 rap album, Mike, because to be honest with you, there is no fucking drop off.
It isn't.
There is no drop off. Bring the Ruckus and Tears might be the weakest song on the album.
Well, that needs to be our next conversation, like the best rap albums, since, all these lists seem to come out from these other publications. I think that this kind of discourse is important, even though, a lot of the stuff people don't agree on, we don't agree on. We can at least talk it out and see who has the most evidence to put forth. And we need that kind of conversation and discourse when it comes to these album ratings. If we're talking about top 25 albums, I think we need that kind of discourse.
No, but can I tell you why I really started doing this?
Set and stuff
can I tell you why I really started doing this to start the year before we get out of here? Like, really? And you know how I am, Mike. I am competitive. If a motherfucker say something and I feel like that it's meant for me, I am going to internalize it. I'm competitive that way. When Benzino made those comments about how anybody can do a podcast and about how you got people that's sitting up here doing stuff and saying they're for the culture, but they're not for the culture. I don't know if he was talking about us or not. I know I do a podcast with you. I know we talk about how we are representing the culture. And my first thought, this is how I be reacting to stuff, Mike. I was like, what the fuck make them so important? You got a Harvard nigga from Boston and a street nigga from Boston trying to tell New York niggas how rap run. But you know why the Source won? They cared the most. So out here this year, I think we care the most, and we got to show it by taking the time to navigate these through this list. Because the Source rose to their prominence, not because they had the streets, not because they were New Yorkers. No, they just cared more about this hip hop shit, and they showed it with the work. This year, I'm done talking. We're going to let the work do the talking. Yeah. Because if a Harvard dude from Boston and a street nigga from Boston can end up dictating New York hip-hop culture and thereby the rest of the culture,
Yeah, you're right. And like you said, they cared the most, and they were able to connect to other people that cared too, and that's what we doing.
They cared the most.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't right, they cared the most. And I remember that because I realized he was coming from a place that's like, oh no, the nigga still care and is worried about his legacy. Yeah.
JY with a super chat says, facts, Coop, I actually have Into the Woo above, only built for Cuban links, solely on the raw energy and feel. Even if only built for Cuban links is technically better, great discussion. Yes. Well,
and just to come in on Seventh Chamber, my clan is thick like Pluster, blast you, smash you. It's just, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, these niggas is hard. Like, they are hard.
All of them. All of them.
I forgot, you want to know what? Inspector Deck doesn't get enough credit for how consistently great he's always been from the jump. Mm-hmm. His style changed the least of all the members.
You're right.
His style changed the least.
He was always great.
Inspector Deck is on Enter the Wu-Tang is who Inspector Deck is on Wu-Tang forever. He was always a top-notch supreme lyricist. Even the Jizza got better as a lyricist. The nigga that might be the best lyricist in 93 on Liquid Swords, on 93 on Into the Wu-Tang, oh no, he's better on Liquid Swords in 95. He is better.
You know who's also like that in another group that people are probably going to laugh at? Takeoff is like that with Migos. Like he changed the least.
No, you're right about that.
He changed the least. Like the way he rapped at the end, it was pretty much how he rapped in the beginning. You could see the elevation with Offset and Quavo, but Takeoff was pretty much the same guy.
People forget, Deck is on Takao. Deck is on Mr. Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
Deck is on the Purple Tape. Deck is on all this shit. Like, and he sounds the same, and he sounds consistently great. The Cream verse is still the standout verse as far as Into the Wu-Tang.
JY says, went to the Freddie Gibbs show. Amazing performance. Well, that's awesome. We're going to see y'all Friday. And, yeah, man, great show. Great discussion.
Hopefully we'll have some music to include with these conversations.
Yeah, I like these conversations, too. Holla at y'all. Appreciate y'all joining us.